Are you tired of the same old pro wrestling? Then check out the amazing action on Powerslam.tv, the biggest indie pro wrestling channel in the world. Get over 4,000 hours of the best pro wrestling events from over 110 of the biggest names in the industry from over 15 countries around the globe. Get your free trial today at Powerslam.tv.
This is Jordan Grace, and you're listening to the Social Suplex Podcast Network.
BWB, this is One Nation Radio. You better get it right. Rich Latta, James Boyd came to give them life. The Blackest Wrestling Podcast has come to kick all ass and drop it 6 feet if they're kicking trash. Word, let me welcome y'all to something different. And if you dig it, man, you should let some friends listen. We be getting it in, this on the regular, dude. Ravish and flow, but this shit rude. See, James don't rap, so I had to break it down. The whole network, man, we coming for the crown. Raps in the columns, I keep them both covered. Making the beats too, so the listeners can bump it. Hit us with the rating, yeah, I'm saying it's a 5. Before you hit it, talk, bob your head side to side. It's One Nation Radio, and this is the beginning. It's Rich, and I'm here with James. It's time to listen to One Nation.
You got to unleash the power of the pyramid.
This is Mike Sempervive from WrestlingObserver.com. Check me out on Wrestling Observer Live every day. And also check out your boys, Rich and James, on One Nation Radio.
This is Kenny Omega. We're listening to One Nation Radio. Check it out, guys. These guys know what's up. Big Kenny Omega fans, and that's all that counts to me. Goodbye and good night. Bang.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to this week's edition of One Nation Radio. I'm your co-host, James Boyd. With me, I have Rich Latta. What's going on, man?
Not much, man. Long day. I had some issues like around the house with like plumbing, and that was a whole nightmare scenario, but all fixed and cool now. So, ready to talk about this wrestling, and we watched Backlash last night. So get ready for the Backlash. Like, every year at Backlash, they do something ridiculous or stupid or something like that, going back to like Jinder Mahal winning the belt a couple years ago. Backlash 2018, which is like on the Mount Rushmore of worst WWE pay-per-views I've ever seen. I don't think this one was that, but this is like right above that level. And I'm just like, I was watching something on the show, a couple things on the show last night, and it was just like, wow, this is bad. And then this is horrible. And this is among the worst things I've ever seen. So there's a lot to talk about. We've got, what else? We've got the Heyman stuff. We've got Wednesdays. We've got a couple other things. But what's up with you, man?
I am just looking at my TV screen, and I just saw R-Truth walk up on Akira Tozawa, and Akira Tozawa had the goons, and by goons, I mean ninjas. So, and he did the Daniel-san crane kick from Karate Kid on Akira Tozawa. He didn't kick him, but he did the pose.
Wow. That's a part of one of the worst things I've seen, them apparently making Akira Tozawa a ninja.
Jesus fucking Christ.
All
right. My thoughts on. Well, let's not even go there first.
First, let's tell them about the new thing we got here going on, and I'm really excited to talk about it because this is a long time coming, like a real sponsor for you boys. And on the Social Suplex Podcast Network, you're going to hear this throughout a couple of these shows. But I don't know about y'all, but I basically I can think of times when I'm trying to groom myself, and sometimes it might just not go all the way well. Like it's kind of hard doing your thing with a razor all the time. So like that's why we kind of linked up with Manscaped. So like the deal with it is you guys will get 20% off and free shipping with the code SUPLEX at manscaped.com. And that's like 20% off with your free shipping at manscaped.com. And once again, use the code SUPLEX, all caps. Y'all know how to spell it. When I was in my younger days and run around these here streets, the Manscaped would have come in, and handy then. But they give you like the charging dock. Did you get your box, James? The Manscaped?
Yeah. I got my box, but I'm trying to understand why you're trying to tell us that like you were giving Catherine Bush. I did not need to know that. I did not want to know that at all.
No, thank you. I didn't say that at all. I've been coming around to
what was the implication?
To the Slim game. I'm talking about when I was a much younger man.
Okay.
So, but make sure you guys check that out. So, support your boys. They 20% off. You can't beat that. So, and your balls will thank you. Trust me. When
are we gonna be able to start slinging dick pills? I think we'll be better at slinging the dick pills.
I mean, the dick pills one day. I was gonna say, from shaving our balls to getting kicked in them, we can talk about WWE Backlash now,
or getting a bowling ball rolled into them.
Correct.
Yeah. Okay. Oh man, not a good show. Had a main event that I thought went from masturbatory to pretty good over the length of time that it went. And I don't think the last time we've been so hard on a pay-per-view was probably Hell in a Cell last year. A WWE pay-per-view. But
or TLC, one of those.
Oh yeah, TLC was a stinker. And that made no sense why it was a stinker. And that main event, Jesus. But you're right, it's TLC. But what I will say about this pay-per-view was, I thought that the wrestlers tried very, very hard. Bobby Lashley and McIntyre tried very, very hard. They had a really good match until, that stupid finish. I thought that, the women in the triple threat tag match tried their best. Obviously, the limitations with some of the people that are in the match, but I thought they tried to have the best match they could. And I think that WWE's doing a pretty good job in these, like, multiple person women's tag matches of kind of, like, getting people, like, in and out and in movement or whatever else, opposed to, like, trying, and they're doing a good job of, accentuating strengths and hiding flaws. So I think they're on a good job with that, like, just throughout the company in general. The main event, man, like, I really like the main event. It obviously is, they have multiple cracks at it, but like I think overall in general, in the ring wise, Edge and Orton, I thought they had a really, 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 really good match. I would even go as far as saying great. I probably would give it something like 4. Right now, I've watched so much wrestling that I'm burnt out, so that I have no actual gauge for how good something actually is. Like, but yeah, I really enjoyed the match towards especially like the last 2/3 of it. The beginning, like basically like after the blood spot, I was hating the match. I was like, Jesus Christ. Thanks, Cody. You have ruined blood for all of wrestling for the time being right now in AEW in general. It's not just Cody problem. Like you had fucking Orange Cassidy bleeding on Wednesday, but yeah. So, but the match turned around, like, and throughout the whole match, there was a genuine effort in trying. Like, I haven't seen Orton hit ropes that hard in probably since he was wrestling Daniel Bryan in 2013. So yeah, I thought that it. A lot of the stuff was wacky and goofy and stupid. The Viking Prophets skit was one of the worst things I've seen in wrestling this year.
Complete throw it in the trash, like wrestle crap, fuck off, all that.
Same. We'll talk about it in a second, but yeah, just in general. Bad show, but had highlights, and most of the highlights are due to the overwhelming determination of these wrestlers to try to bust our ass and entertain us. Vince, Kevin Dunn, and the rest of the Brain, Pritchard, and the rest of the Brain Trust, they, not so much, but the wrestlers, they want to work hard and try to give us a good product.
It's amazing, man. Like we always are like on the side of the wrestlers because we have to trust the wrestlers to save it in the ring, and sometimes they can't because of the limitations that are placed upon them. Then other times it's like, well, everything goes wrong. But as far as the Orton Edge thing, like I thought that it was like a spoof of a great match. It was like they were. It was like Vince was like, all right, they want to see a great match. We're gonna do everything that's, you know, in a great match. Like they're gonna steal a bunch of finishers. They're gonna kick out a million things. Like we need a shotgun to beat one of them. And it was like, it looked like Randy Orton put together just like a stripped down version of an NXT main event. And, you know, it like I said, it felt like a parody of a great match rather than them actually going to have a great match, if that makes any sense. And you know, it was good to see Edge, like, you know, show up at whatever age he is. I think he's 47. You know, and Randy Orton, you know, working hard is such a rare thing. Yeah. It's like it's like, oh wow, this is kind of different here.
You see, you see it like maybe once or twice a year at this point,
right? But I absolutely hated the presentation of this match. Right. I guess we just roll right into it. I thought it was I thought them lowering the rim on these guys showed they had no faith in them to actually be professionals, and it seemed like Orton and Edge were trying to work in despite of that. They had the fake crowd piped in noise that just threw me off the whole time. They were taking bumps where there was no you know, audio of the bump. Like there were, you know, commentators being zoomed on where the commentator's not even like talking or anything, but you hear the audio going off. They are zooming in on people that are in the crowd, like while they're, you know, playing the shit that's crazy, but the person in the crowd is not doing anything. Just everything around this match, it was like WWE decided, like, these are all the things that a great match has, so we're gonna put them there, but they have no idea why they actually work. Like they have no idea why the great kickouts actually work. They have no idea why someone, you know, hitting multiple finishers actually, you know, gets over like that. Like the best near fall I think I've seen this year was, you know, when Kenny kicked out of the damn Golden Trigger when the Bucks did that. It was like the Bucks stooping so low to use, like, you know, his move that he did with his former partner, like, and then he kicks out at one, and it was just like, that took that match to another level. And it was like the crowd got fired up, Kenny got fired up, and it just seems like these were just placeholder things they were putting in the match just to say they had them or whatever, rather than it actually feeling like it was meant to be there.
Well, I feel like as far as the finishers from multiple people, like the kill switch, the Edge doing the kill switch makes sense because of Christian, right? Triple H doing the pedigree makes sense to me. But once you start throwing out, like, and then, you know, Edge doing trying to attempt a sharpshooter because he's Canadian, fine, whatever. But like once you throw out a rock bottom, I'm like, what? Now it's gone from these are actually people in our lives and, you know, whatever else, and through our careers and arcs. Like, well, it would have made more sense for either one of them, like either one of them pulled off of AA. That would have made more sense. But like once you throw out the rock bottom, it's kind of like, okay, so now we're like doing the, you know,
I thought someone was going to do a stunner next. Like,
yeah, some of the stuff made sense as far as the finisher. Some stuff didn't. The Rock made no sense. They have no ties to the Rock. Like the closest thing you have a tie to the Rock with either one of them is like Randy Orton at WrestleMania 20, right? But
and that's loose at best,
right? It just didn't. For me, it just didn't make much sense. Like there was no Foley Mandible Claw, even though like those, you know, those are both of their guys' 5 best matches. Yeah, it just, you know, I just thought like they went from that makes more sense if you stick it to, you know, like you mentioned, like the Golden Trigger, right? Compared to just pulling out random people from the past or whatever else, because it's like there's no tie to them, and you actually it doesn't feel like anything that's actually earned.
Like, so, I got another one for you. Like G1 Finals 2016, ironically, Kenny again. He breaks out all the finishers of the old Bullet Club leaders and be like, I'm better than all of them, or right. You know, like I was in the background and, you know, took all these things, but what's going to actually put me over the top is my move. Like those are like the storytelling elements that WWE just doesn't either care about or get.
Hell, I mean, look at Ibushi when Ibushi goes out there and does the Mumbai knee.
Yeah,
like you can. I mean, you can also talk about Ryusuke Taguchi doing the knee too. But well, actually, well, not the knee, that he does the ass with it, but whatever. But yeah, it just didn't feel like that part was offering, because it's like, is this supposed to be, once you pull out the pedigree, it's supposed to be like the answer to it is The Rock because that's a career rival for Triple H? It's like, how does that tie back to the story that y'all are telling in the ring right now between y'all two and everything y'all got going on? Because like, if that's the case, when he did the pedigree, I was expecting a super kick to come from Edge, and then I got it right bottom. I was like, huh? Because then you play on like the rivalries between these two people, and also the fact that like the heat for a reason why these two people, and why people are so into them fighting in this very moment, is because like they have shown on TV over years, or even right now in the case of Shawn and Hunter and Edge and Orton, is like there's a genuine love there. So like him super kicking Shawn would have made more sense to me. But whatever, I'm getting hung up on the finisher thing. But like, yeah, I mean, I do. But yeah, continue. Sorry, I derailed your point about like it just felt like your point was they were throwing all this stuff together of what in their mind it makes a great match, as opposed to when it's kind of like sterile. That was
right.
Yeah,
right. It's like it's like we run all these plays that like say the 1998 Chicago Bulls, they ran a triangle offense. You know who else ran the triangle offense, James?
The Timberwolves.
The 1990 the 1999 Chicago Bulls. So like it's like they have the same plays, but like they don't have the equipment or to carry out the same thing. You know who else ran a triangle? The fucking Dallas Mavs with Jason Kidd. Like when he was young, like with Jim Jackson and them, they was getting their heads beat in because obviously they don't know what they're doing. Like that's what this felt like. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, the Kurt Rambis, Kevin Love, Timberwolves also ran triangle too.
Right. You see what happens when you don't have like Jordan or Kobe or Shaq, like or Scotty, like right. So like, yeah, but these guys wrestled really hard, and I think they did have, like, under the circumstances, everything going into it. I thought it was a good match too. Like right at between the Cowards rating and 4. So
Cowards rating.
Yeah. So
why are you anti .75s, man?
Like it's for cowards, like, so because like what you playing, like they're fake, like the star ratings are fake, so like why are we fucking around with a .75? Like it's for cowards.
So should we also get rid of all quarters, all .75s and all .25s?
Nah, .25s I just feel a little different because it ain't quite a 4.5, but like it's better than a 4.
Well, the reason why I say this is because like when Cage Match, you go on Cage Match and you look at people's ratings or whatever else, it's 1 through 9. Or sorry, it's 1 or 0 through 10. So the automatic, or 1 through 10. So you all know automatically, like, you got it. If you just divide it in half, those are all halves. So when people got to vote on matches on Cage Match, they're doing halves anyway. So why are the 7.75s is what your hang up is, but not the .25s?
I don't know. I just never really considered.
Okay.
The cowards ratings, like, because it looked like you getting right back around to the top again, like it's a clock, essentially how I look at it. Like, if you pass that hour, that 4, you're over. Look, Kenny and Tanahashi, cowards rating 5.75. Naito and Kenny 5.75. Ospreay and Okada 5.75. Cowards ratings, all of them.
Wow.
Just go to 6.
How about we just stay at 5, like normal?
No, man, we over the top, man, over the top. But the cinematic shit underneath this.
Yeah, that's the main thing, right? Like, you look at for me, and I was going to make this point. Like, what we have, the wrestling, regardless of the fact that, let's say, even if if you're someone that's okay with, and I'm okay with it, like, you want to tape a match, fine, I don't care. Like, I know people edit matches all the time. Like, I watch Joshi shows that are 2 hours long, and you can see just after a spot, all of a sudden they just cut through something. So I don't care. So like a pre-tape match has been edited. Like, when they say stuff is live to tape or whatever else, who knows what they've actually really cut? You'll never know. So, Lucha Underground is another example of that. But anyway, so for me, I thought that if you just get rid of the goofy editing, the nonsense and this is something that, like, doesn't really bother me for the most part when people complain about backstage segments where, like, somebody is doing something nefarious backstage. How come somebody doesn't recognize it or realize that there's a camera right there? And he's like, the camera's not supposed to be existing right now. We're basically are seeing, this is basically turning into a TV show right now as opposed to, you know, a wrestling federation or a simulation of a real, actual, legitimate sport or whatever else with camera crews and interviewers or whatever else when the interviewer's not around. So, but when they did the superplex spot, where they do the superplex, and, like, they give us a camera angle that indicates clearly, like, the cameraman's inside the fucking ring right now. Like, this call's coming from inside the house. The shot is coming from inside the ring. I was like, I hate this.
Yep.
When Orton went for his spike DDT, and they did the camera shot, like, where clearly the camera was inside the ring, pointing the camera up to catch Edge's face and knowing, oh my god, I'm about to get a DDT. I fucking hated that too. Like, look. But what I want to focus on, because I thought the match got very good, was how hard they worked, the match they laid out, the stuff where, like, the match was a struggle from beginning to end, and I mean in a way of, like, wrestling's not slick, wrestling's not easy, these people aren't just goofs that let moves get done to them like it's a fucking video game on practice mode. It was, people are struggling and fighting for roll-ups and all types of technical shit to get to pin people. I really enjoyed this match. Was it the best match WWE even put on this weekend if you include Friday as a weekend? No, but it was a good-ass match. I'm not holding them to the greatest match ever because that's clearly some bullshit ploy. I said that last week. I'm not holding that. I just want them to have a good-ass match. They did that. So from that perspective, in the ring, the stuff they did, I'm happy with that. Just the rest of Vince McMahon hating wrestling, go away. Yeah, same with you. So thumbs up for them dudes' effort and whatever else, and, you know, Edge, you know, tearing a fucking triceps, having to redo a spot to get the camera shot or whatever the hell they were doing. Whatever.
Stop lowering the rim.
Yeah. Like, just if they had that same match edited and all that stuff, and then put in their goofy stuff, their match would be even better. But whatever. So. Let's just go talk about the let's do it.
Worst things we've ever seen. This I have it labeled as cinematic garbage tag. Like, I didn't rate it. I refuse to rate it. It's not wrestling. It's just like all types of fuckery, not understanding comedy. You know, Akira Tozawa showing up as a fucking ninja. Yes, one of the most charismatic, Japanese wrestlers you've ever had. Instantly got himself over on day one when he showed up in this fucking company. Gets nothing but, you know, doing jobs. And, you know, somebody got to do jobs. But, like, you do this shit, and it's like, you already know fans feel like you have not a clue what you're doing with Japanese wrestlers for the most part. And to put him in a gi and make him a fucking ninja man, and to roll out, you know, the 7'5" black guy as the gag, the comedy for it is just like, who's this for? The Street Profits and Viking Raiders, they are complete goofs. Both teams now running away after they break Braun Strowman's car or whatever. The tag, one of these teams are the champions, James, the champions of the world. Like,
man, those belts have been cooked ever since WrestleMania 34. So,
oh god, like, and
when was the last time they were worth a damn? When was the last time those belts were worth a damn?
2017, maybe.
Yeah, between when it was like the Bar versus Shield. Yeah, right.
And it's just like, I thought this thing was absolutely atrocious. Horrible. This was like the lowest of the low. This was WWE at its worst, at its not understanding what fans actually want to see. The cinematic shit done in the most terrible way. They learned nothing from the Stadium Stampede again, and it seems like every time WWE goes back to it, whether it's the Cole shit or the Gargano and Ciampa shit, like it's getting worse. Like what they're doing with this, and the Money in the Bank ladder match, the fucking goofy music underneath with no commentary or whatever. It's like a complete like just skit that's there. It's like, I don't enjoy this. I just want to see people fight each other that hate each other. Is that so fucking hard? They did all these goofy skits leading up to this to do what you assume was going to be a match. But even then, there was no match. And then you have the referee showing up at the end telling Ivar he's cute as a gag or whatever.
You know what the gag is, though?
Yes.
What's the gag?
Big women find Ivar attractive,
right,
quote unquote.
Right. And why would you do that to one of your fucking... why would you do that in general? And then why would you do that to your ref?
Right.
First off, they don't like to have their refs have any fucking personalities and just be completely, like, interchangeable, right? That's the reason why they got rid of Kyoto, right? Or not the reason why they got rid of Kyoto, but, like, that's how like, dispensable, Vince sees all of them right now.
Yeah.
Right? Like, so for her, that's going to be her thing. Like, that's the only time you're ever going to see anything with her, and that's what you're going to remember every time you see her. Because she's the only woman ref right now on the main roster.
Yeah, and when they say big, this is what WWE is saying that she is. Because if you look at the other skits, like, there would be a bigger woman that would compliment Ivar, and that's to continue that.
Right, and then say about Eric, you say, or Ivar, you're cute. Eric, not so much.
Yeah. Yeah. What did you think about this?
I thought that they were okay, and then all of a sudden, like, once they start going to Ivar daydreaming every 5 seconds, I was like, what the fuck is this? And then it made me like, oh yeah, I'm calling this motherfucker, like, of course, like, this is happening to these guys' career. Like, I'm calling him Ivar right now instead of Hanson, right? So, fucking Viking experience. It's so goofy. Yeah, man, like, the only like good part about this, and from their perspective, is they got their nice little buffer match. They had a half hour of bullshit they put on before Edge and Orton. That lowered, cleansed the palate, or whatever you want to call it. So, but outside of that, nah, man, like, no. It was goofy. Like, for the like, once they do the, like, I can't even know where to start. Like, because my mind, I'm thinking of things, and I'm thinking like other things. Like, I just thought about when they did they ran out of the dumpster after they jumped into the dumpster for no fucking reason, and then they jumped out because all of a sudden, like, it's like they're inside the trash compactor in episode 4 of Star Wars, and it's alive now and it can eat them. So whatever. Then before that, they run away from the ninja by climbing. Like, I don't know if I know they're professional wrestlers, but like, never in the history of wrestling has anyone ever climbed to escape somebody and it worked out well for them ever. So, that goes back to Hell in a Cell with Shawn Michaels, the first one. But
well, remember what Hawk did?
Oh God damn it! You want to tell the people what happened?
Hawk was climbing up the Titantron. I don't know if he was trying to escape something, or he was, he was trying to escape his demons. There you go. But I guess there was beef, between Animal and then Draws. Draws being brought in to kind of, replace him and be that third role. But then Hawk fell off the fucking Titantron. So, yeah.
Okay, so, like, now that I'm thinking about the Star Wars trash compactor in one of the Star Destroyers, I think the Star Destroyer, that scene where they're fighting the ninjas in Tozawa, that was supposed to be like, that was like Rush Hour, right? Like the fight scene in the Rush Hour, right?
You
when
say
they're
that.
in the massage parlor, like when they're doing the spot where they're doing moves and they're jumping over each other to hit somebody behind them. Look out! That was from Rush Hour, wasn't it?
Yeah, I would say so.
Yeah. All right. I mean, there's the bowling ball spot where like they're starting to fight each other with weapons, and they say, "What are we doing fighting each other with weapons?" And they put down the weapons all together. He gets the bowling after the end. They get the bowling ball again, and I remember I think Flo was asking, "Why are they fighting this long hallway?" And then, sure enough, Ivar rolls the bowling ball right into Montez Ford's nuts, and I'm like, well, there's your answer. You needed a bowling lane for lack of a better word. There's the spear through the glass. Yeah, man. There's a time when like the ninjas randomly show up, and then all of a sudden they become the Viking prophets. Your boy Ivar can control a turkey leg and can summon it like the hammer of Thor. It's just like there are some things that in a vacuum would have gotten a good reaction, but it's just similar to what they did with the main event. They have a checklist of things they think are funny without wondering if they're actually funny in context when they're put together, and it failed. That's a lot of the issue with why a lot of people hated the TLC, the Money in the Bank ladder match. Is like there are some things there to me that I found hilarious in that thing, but for the most part, it's a miss because most of the stuff didn't go together well, right? And then they did like random stuff like Doink or bringing out Akira Tozawa as a fucking ninja, like
Bruce Pritchard, Brother Love, just hanging out there. The Undertaker,
just getting done, finished taking the shit. So Ray just like is there smiling at the fact that he knows that Pritchard just took a shit. Why would Rey Mysterio give a flying fuck if Hitman took a shit or not?
Yeah, they're so disconnected.
Undertaker has an office in headquarters. Like that's not the worst idea in the world. That is kind of funny on his face, but didn't work. Having a Money in the Bank room that Dana thinks that like that she just wanted there. It's like okay,
like she's a dummy.
It made him like a dumbass. It would have worked better with a heel, but whatever. It's just we're relitigating the fucking not relitigating, but like bashing that match again. But like it's the same thing. It's like there are things there that like are fun to play with, but like. All together, it wasn't executed well enough to make it work. If someone else had, their hands on it, they could have made it work, probably, and, would have cut a lot of other things out to not make it seem so absolutely, totally random. So, like, it's just, it's almost like they're like, let's do this, and then like, let's think of all these ideas on how to play with this stuff without, like, while going from station to station, not worried about like whether or not this actually works as a story together. And also, it was totally unannounced that we were going to get a match like this. So like they just basically like without even telling us they just gave us like unannounced, unhyped cinematic wrestling.
Right. I was like, no one asked for this. Like this wasn't
no one at all. Especially after they had hyped all this stuff, is like they're doing all this comedy stuff to try to, their ideas. It gives them a personality. It makes them seem like more like they have something going for them and characters. And like you can say, and for me, it's like, well, what the fuck? Like Dawkins and Ford have been doing this for like over a year now. It's been a year.
Like, right? If we don't know them by now, like what the fuck?
Like, and they're actually over with the crowd when they're at these places. So it's like, all right, at what point do they actually get, not get serious, but like, at what point do they actually like, showcase the reason why they're really here for? Like, they did a really good job when they had that random ass, last chance title thing against Seth and Buddy. But like, outside of that, they've done nothing but say like, you've never ever been in NXT or the main roster, being Viking Raiders. You do all this stuff. All right, well, let's get a match now. No. Let's waste 30 minutes doing this goofy shit.
Off. Like,
right.
Amazing.
And they've gotten the Viking Raiders under throughout this whole thing after, they were doing a good job with them when they first came up, but, they got thrown into the Kevin Owens and Seth Rollins thing with Samoa Joe. That got broke up because Samoa Joe got hurt and caught a violation. And then they kind of just been around, and now they're, we got to make them funny, even though we got them over originally being serious. We got to have them in the car, chanting Viking Raiders and shit, and holding, driving around the city, riding around a city near you with a turkey leg. It's like, fuck off.
Yeah. Then we had the WWE title match, Drew and Lashley. This was awesome. And I was into this match ahead of time, and I felt like these guys rewarded me. They came out there, and it felt like they wanted to hit each other hard. They had chemistry. They had timing. Lashley dropped Drew on his fucking dome like he had been watching All Japan. King's Road.
You hit that man with something burning, huh?
Correct. And I thought this was just like this was a hell of a match. I was gonna go 4 stars on until the finish. These guys bust their ass, had a great match, and then at the last second, they bring Lana's ass out there to remind you that you're watching WWE. And then what happens? Drew can't just beat the man; he has to win on a distraction, for the move. I docked them a whole half a star for that because I liked the match that much or whatever, and then they decided to fuck me. And I'm always worried about this company fucking me, James. Like, I never have to do this with any other promotion I watch.
Right.
And this is why. And this is the proof right here.
It's kind of funny. I don't know if this is a recent thing. It is a recent thing. I don't know. I can't speak to the 2018 stuff with Lashley, but it seems to me that he is like the rare big man that has his best matches with other big men, as opposed to like nowadays big men prefer having matches with the smaller dudes so they can play like the bully and do the easy story of big man, little man. Like, in my opinion, Lashley's 2 best matches by far since he's came back have been that last man standing match with Strowman last year and this match. It is just weird because it's like, McIntyre works hard and he has good matches all the time, especially in this run since he won the Royal Rumble. I'm
believing him as the champion.
I told you. See, the thing is, you don't watch this shit, but like this
match was over with me.
Right. Even when he was a heel, we always acknowledge like he works hard. His matches are good when they let him have matches, like especially when he was working with like Seth or Finn Balor or whatever else. It's just that like he's working a heel. He's in fucking Corbin Goon, the first version of Corbin Goon, like, and they're playing it like Corbin is the actual star, which is like, why the fuck are you playing as a star? And you look at it now and it's like, think all the time we wasted at the end of 2018.
Yeah.
Think all that time we wasted. We knew then that, like, it's Drew. It's not fucking Corbin. Stop wasting our goddamn time. And I don't mean, and by we, I don't mean just Rich and just me. I mean the entire fucking wrestling world with 2 goddamn eyes, 2 goddamn ears, and 1 functioning brain. So, but anyway, McIntyre, I feel so bad for this dude. This dude, I feel that if right now he was in front of a crowd, the crowd would really and genuinely take to him. Because he's doing a lot of good work with promo-wise. His stuff, mic-wise, when he goes back and forth with MVP, has been good every time I've peeped in on it. Like, MVP's done a great job as a manager for Lashley in a way that, like, he's not as good as Leo Rush was, but I feel like he's better for Lashley. It's a better fit for Lashley than just like Leo is such a star that he can get anything over, whereas like MVP is getting Lashley over. And with this Lana thing, it did a lot of work for Lashley's character that Lashley can't really, that seems to not be capable of actually doing himself. So yeah, I thought that this program was looking back on it and seeing that match until that finish, even with the finish, still a really good match, but you look at what they've done between the two, it's not over. I will actually want another match. I hate that fucking finish, but I still want another match eventually with them. And I wish they had a better finish, but, program, Drew himself, Lashley himself with MVP, I feel like all this stuff is pointing. It's 2 thumbs up, right, or at least 1 thumb up right now. And like, think how rare that has been the last few years with like top champions in WWE. So they're off to a good start so far.
Yeah. Then we had the other
but don't do that shit
match
again.
Yeah.
Don't do that finish bullshit again.
Yeah, we had the other title match. I have this written down as Strowman versus Geeks. And those Geeks were Miz and Morrison. Yep. Everything that, like, remember that song, Everything I'm Not, makes me everything I am. So everything that Drew and Lashley was, Strowman versus the Geeks was
Whose
not.
song is this?
Kanye.
Who?
On Graduation. Yeah.
Who?
Oh.
What album?
Yeah. I would say, do I have to have you use the beep for
No, I kind of got loose with that last time. I don't think that's ever gonna happen again. Like I was like, oh, I should just edit that off all entire, but whatever, I beeped it. But yeah. Anyway, I
hated this as a whole gimmick. I'm like, why couldn't they just book a 3-way? It would have made way more sense here. And say, yeah. And make Miz and Morrison kind of unwilling to, they were like, well, why the fuck do we have to fight each other? And then Strowman's there. He got his pick between either one of them he wants. Like, you could have still did your fucking goofy, 2-on-1 match, but make it a 3-way. So you don't have to, like, have them breaking up each other's pins and shit, like, on the same team. Like, I don't know. It was just fucking dumb. Like, 2 stars, fuck off. Like...
I'm not gonna give this match much. Like it was just like John Morrison's really good, but the problem is ultimately nobody is paying to see Braun Strowman sell. People are paying. People that like Braun Strowman want to see Braun Strowman destroy people, shoulder tackle the shit out of them, power slam the shit out of them, beat the fuck out of them, and basically like. Every Braun, look, we know what the good Braun Strowman matches. They follow the Braun Strowman formula. There are very few times of success when you deviate from that, given his limitations and his injury history, that he can do more than that. Just do the Braun Strowman match. No one's gonna be mad if you do the Braun Strowman match. People enjoy the Braun Strowman match. Do the Braun Strowman match. That's all I have to say.
Ms. Morrison's gear was fucking on another level, elite. Like,
I don't even remember.
Yeah, it was like navy blue, like sequins, like both of them they matched or whatever. Shit was super hard.
I'll look it up.
Strowman, I watched the build up to this match and I was like, wow, this is a championship match that they're building this up. Like, wow, like. I can't believe this. So these belts are not over. These is like Drew's gonna have to keep doing work to solidify his title, but Strowman, they don't know what the fuck to do with him.
Yeah, this is just this is clearly just.
And this was like Otis Catchman was hanging over this, and it was like, well, that ain't gonna help anything. So
yeah, like this was clearly just they wanted Roman to be the champion. Roman said, fuck you, I'm going home. And they were like, well, who are we going to put it on? All right, put it on Strowman. We don't want to, and are we going to do anything to validate the fact that, like, or try to alleviate, like, people's issues with Strowman, the fact that, like, y'all clearly do not give a fuck about Strowman and have no care with him and just beat him in every big match? And are you going to do anything to try to fix that, to try to, like, get some of that off of him? No. You're going to just let that stink just linger there? Okay, cool. So here comes the Fiend in the next program. Fiend's going to show, or sorry, the Fiend / Bray Wyatt is coming to get his second match on Friday, apparently. So they're back to that. I figured they were going to save that for SummerSlam or something, but they're doing it now.
Jesus.
Yeah.
Then we had Asuka and Nia Jax. They were hitting each other hard for the couple minutes they went at it. It was actually all right. Asuka was not injured, so that's good.
Yep.
But of course,
didn't suck. Bad finish, but didn't suck as far as bell to bell.
Yeah, a double count out. So I don't know why they can't just have someone lose and then come out and cut a promo and say, hey, I want to fight you again, or something. This is what they feel they have to do to continue this. I don't agree with it. I think it is ripping off the audience, but they've done it with belts higher than this. So, like they did Kofi Kingston and Randy Orton at SummerSlam last year. They did AJ Styles and Samoa Joe the year before that at SummerSlam, where they're doing double countouts and shit. And it's just like we wouldn't let anyone.
But at least those were like the story told in the match, like led to that, and you can accept it. You can somewhat accept it, especially like the AJ one, right? This was that was a TV match. It's a TV match and a TV story. Or just like, oh,
like, why are we not beating Nia Jax?
This is the first match on TV. Imagine that wasn't a title match, right? First match on TV. Champion fights somebody. They end up having a tough contest where they get a double count out inside the ring, right? Or outside the ring, and then like that sets up the pay-per-view. Like that's what this was, except it was a title match on a pay-per-view. Like it was just TV lazy ass finish. So whatever.
It shows me the confidence they got in Asuka. I'm like, nah, we ain't first match with the champion. Nah, you can't even win.
She has never successfully defended a title on the main roster.
Unbelievable.
She never got a chance, or her only title defense with the SmackDown title, she lost it to Charlotte, and then this one, double count out. So yeah. And also Charlotte is still looming over the top because she beat her on Monday.
So everyone this week that may have seen that Charlotte banter breakout on Twitter this week about people just wanting to play dumb and act like they don't understand why people are tired of Charlotte. Refer to last week's One Nation Radio. I've been getting roasted in the group chats all week for a 2-second portion of what I stated, but it was funny. So we already covered all that last week, so we're not gonna.
We weren't roasting you inside the thing. It was just you said one little line that I thought was fucking hilarious, so I chopped it and I put it and I made it into a video and I reposted at different times. I'm wondering if I should say we should. I'll throw a link in the description, but probably not. Probably not a good idea.
Look, y'all know what it is. If you listen to the show, you can go back and figure it out.
Yeah, it was like clear. Yeah, it was definitely one of the bigger spots during that particular rant. But yeah, Shayna should have won a Royal Rumble. Charlotte won. Rhea should have won at WrestleMania. Charlotte won. Io should have pinned Charlotte. Io pinned Rhea. Charlotte should have been the one that have turned at SummerSlam 2018. They turned Becky. Sasha should have won. I'm sorry, Asuka. Given where they were going immediately after WrestleMania, Asuka should have won the SmackDown Women's title at WrestleMania 34. Charlotte won. Let's see. Sasha Banks, Hell in a Cell 2016 in Boston. Yep. Sasha should have won. Charlotte won. Let's see where else we got. WrestleMania 32 triple threat match. Sasha or Becky should have won. Charlotte won. There is a long list of all this stuff. There's all of, and like there's
how many
also
title matches, James? You had a graphic the other day.
Yeah, somebody had put up a thing. I don't know what the context was. Somebody put up a thing that was pulled from Reddit on Twitter. Someone posted something on Twitter that was from Reddit about like number of title matches from individual wrestlers since the 2016 brand split in August, right? And like Charlotte had like 42. She was number 3 and had like 42 of them, 42 title matches. And the people above her were AJ Styles and Seth. And then I was like, okay, so here's the thing about like those title matches and stuff. Like, if you look at, if you have it up, do you have it?
No, I don't.
Actually, well, I'll try to find it real quick. But basically, I was thinking like, all right, well, in the men's division, like you got or for that whole duration, you had tag titles you can go after. You have secondary belts. So, but the thing with the women's divisions on the main roster is they never have room for a secondary feud, and that's one of the problems with, you know, when Alexa Bliss was running roughshod over the SmackDown division, or let's say 2006, 17 through 18, and like Charlotte's whole run is that like she's always in a title match, and like
that's literally her gimmick.
Yeah, at this point, yeah, it is. It literally is her gimmick. Is that she's like she's always in the title picture. She is the title picture, and it's like that's cool if you're like John Cena or Hogan or somebody like, but you don't draw like that. So what's the point? Like, you have never been the most overacting in like on the main roster in the women's division. So what the fuck's going on to where this is happening for you? Like, it's not justifiable as opposed to just, you know, Vince's fetish for blonde, big titty white women. So, like,
yes, I'm cutting it off.
Oh God damn it! But anyway, like, if you give me a second, I'll pull it up. I'm having a hard time like trying to talk and pull this up at the same time. Yeah. So I found it. So basically, Seth Rollins has assisted brand split has had 59 title matches. AJ has had 51 title matches. Charlotte's had 42 matches. Bliss has had 40 matches. Miz has had 39, right? And then like also tied with Miz is Kofi at 39. So I just like, all right, well, what would happen if I were to subtract NXT title shots that make no sense that Charlotte has gotten? So I'm not even going to count that. I'm going to be quote unquote fair to Charlotte by getting rid of that, right? And I get rid of tag title matches, and I get rid of
largely secondary stuff,
and I get rid of secondary mid card titles, the U.S. title and the Intercontinental title. I only focus on SmackDown Women's, Raw Women's, Universal, and WWE title matches since then, or since the brand split in 2016. And like, so that number, Charlotte was at 42, right? Once I get rid of all the secondary stuff and tag match stuff, it includes women tag belts, right? She only drops to 35. So AJ at 51, after you get rid of all the secondary bullshit, drops to 30. Alexa Bliss, once you get rid of the tag stuff, she drops to 29. Seth, who had number one on this thing at 59 for most title matches or whatever else, he drops once you go to top title matches, he drops all the way to 19 title matches. And Miz is on this thing at 39, right? Miz is second. Miz would now be 2 after last night. This is his second title match in the last 4 years since his brand split. Like, in the match, I remember the match he was in. You remember what match it was, Rich?
He got a WWE title match against...
It wasn't a singles match.
It had to be like one of them 5-way matches, huh?
2017 Elimination Chamber match.
Okay.
When Bray Wyatt won the title. That's the only title shot that Miz has gotten for the U.S. I'm sorry, for the under the Universal or the WWE title match since 2016 in August.
Unbelievable. That man was like, for 2 years between 2016 and 2018, incredible.
One of the best upper mid carders. Yeah. So he's somebody that should have, you know, at least challenged it. I'm not saying he should have won it, but obviously not, because I don't think he should have been WWE champion, but he's somebody that should have been at least like a scare you title contender for some babyface, right? So Charlotte at 35, so like that's almost an average of 9 title matches per year.
Do these people not get this? Like,
yeah.
Well, I think we need.
And this is not the most. Again, this is not the most over. This is a person that's never been the most over woman in the division. Not even close.
Like, there's always a Becky. There's always a Sasha.
Right.
There's always like someone else around that's just like the people want. But
there's no. Even this, there's always an Alexa. Alexa's more over. Is historically more over act than Charlotte is. Do I want to see Alexa Bliss more than Charlotte? Fuck no. But that's my point. Is still the same. Like, we every time we are given some less than shit, the goofballs and the apologists will come out and say, well, this is a business. All right, put Alexa Bliss in all these fucking matches again then. Oh, you don't want to do that because you don't want to watch that shit either, right? Now that y'all are off that shit and done defending all that shit because she's off of that, y'all realize, oh my god, yeah, she wasn't that good. Now, y'all wouldn't want to see that shit again.
And then when they talk about the business,
right?
Well, look, we not talking about merch. We not talking about ratings.
Right.
We're not talking about like selling tickets. We're not talking about none of that. Like when it comes to Charlotte, ever. No, never once.
And that's not to say that like she is some anti-draw. It's just like she's just someone that's
there.
She's someone that's very overrated compared to the level of her push, right? As far as she's someone that's overpushed. Like that's the best way to put it.
Look,
I don't.
And you know, stealing a WrestleMania main event that will never endear you to people that actually think about this stuff analytically and, you know, look at it to you. I talked about this with Chad, you know, before. Like there are a couple things that you can measure, or at least it felt like it, you know, in this fake sport that were real. Like you used to be able to talk about someone winning the WWE title and how they could never take it away from them, and it's this huge achievement. You used to be able to talk about the WrestleMania main event until they just started cramming Roman Reigns in all of them, you know, without choice, you know, without anything. Because before that, it felt like this thing you had to get essentially. But then, like when Charlotte snuck in there. And the WrestleMania 35 thing is like, well, y'all really were sneaking Becky in there or whatever, because Charlotte was always in this fucking match. No matter what, regardless of how much that she wasn't wanted or welcome there. And, you know, quite frankly, you know, we always talk about it, the night after the Royal Rumble in 2019, it was Ronda and it was Becky, and that was what the people wanted. And they wanted Ronda to beat Becky and Charlotte to fuck off. And Vince McMahon walking out here, like they literally built a storyline on him handing it to her, and that thing has resonated just as much, maybe more, and worked people.
Yeah, because
as much as the Lesnar, you know, doesn't, you know, shows up and has 30-second matches at house show things.
Yeah, because like it was
Brock has never been the same.
Yeah, because it's one of those rare instances of art imitating, or not. Sorry, not rare, but like this is art imitating life. Like that whole entire Becky thing let everyone know that, like, look, man, Charlotte is someone that they've pushed to a spot. People respected her at the time, and if you go back and listen to our, you know, when we were doing the LLP show and talking about like the week to week thing after SummerSlam, it was like my biggest concern was, oh my god, they're going to Roman Reigns, Charlotte Flair. And Charlotte was so damn good in 2018 in the ring that it's like that's not gonna happen, because, and also it's like she kept putting Becky over left and right after that SummerSlam. It was like she's in the matches, but she keeps losing. She's having these great performances. Like this is like almost like chill out on the Charlotte stuff that y'all might be having about her. Like I get it, but it's like she's losing these matches, and Becky is now becoming the biggest star in the company. So I was, but then once they went back to the shit, it was like y'all didn't learn this lesson. You put Charlotte in a WrestleMania main event, it didn't get her not one bit more over than she was after doing it. Becky was a person that should have just been in the match and not worried about, and instead with the Charlotte stuff, it made everything so convoluted. It hurt Becky. It hurt Ronda putting over Becky. And we'll probably never, we don't know when we'll get another star like Becky ever again. And all this because y'all were so dead set on pushing this fucking woman because you've known her since she was like born.
Unbelievable.
And it's like, I feel bad for Charlotte, and I see Charlotte try. She'll go online and she'll defend herself, and rightfully so, because like even if I was in her position, I know how hard I work to be as good as she is, and she's damn good. But like, I understand to be that defensive, but
sometimes it ain't about that.
And but this ain't really about you, Charlotte. It's about but look, it's not about her. But she catches so many strays for it that she has to defend herself. So I just feel really bad. Like I feel so conflicted about how she feels about it because like none of this is her fault. It's she feels this way from the fans because of how Vince has fucked this up for her and for everybody else. And this is another one of the examples of like the internet discourse around it. And obviously people don't know how to behave themselves, but whatever. Let's move on. We've derailed this whole thing talking about. We went from all this stuff to I don't know how we even got to
Sheamus and Jeff Hardy. Long, boring. Sheamus feels like he's from another era, another time, and this is when he was wrestling in a match against Jeff Hardy, who has been wearing the same thing since like 2001. Mind you, Sheamus like. I was watching.
Nah, bro, he was in them Jinkos way before then.
Yeah, and even he felt like kind of fresh or whatever. But Sheamus, it literally was like he walked out of a time machine in 2011. The only thing that was missing was the music. It's a shameful thing. Lobster head, like the promo, the voice. Like I was like, wow. Apparently Hacksaw Jim Duggan is walking out in 1999 apparently like on Raw like get him the fuck out of here like I don't
is Hacksaw Jim Duggan 1999 is that like when he came back after beating cancer?
Yeah, but he was in WCW then, but okay. I mean like Raw like the same company like
okay
like
gotcha.
Like you clearly like you from another time bro like nah like yeah, and this was just long and boring, and the bad guy won. The drunken hero Jeff Hardy was beaten up, framed, and promptly destroyed in the match by the bad guy.
You know what's funny about that? Is this isn't the first time they've done a redemption / demons thing with Jeff.
Well, all Jeff Hardy angles are redemption angles at this point,
right? Like even dating back to the Samoa Joe one from the end of 2000 or from 2019 when he was out here smoking the shit out of that man on the mic. But yeah, it's just they only know one story from him. It's like it's supposed to like finding something new or whatever else. It's just that he's just stuck. That's just what it is,
bro. It's funny because I kind of see Jeff how I see like Rey Mysterio. Like Rey's only story now is like, oh, he's old. Like that's it. They don't know. Like they got both of these guys there.
Well, there's also the other story with Rey. There's also the other story with Rey, which is like, oh yeah, like he's the leader of the Mexicans. He's gonna wrestle off the Mexicans. That's the only two stories they have. Like he is the great. That's like he is. The second, or he's the one or two great like Mexican stars of the last 20 years of professional wrestling, and like one of them's dead and the other one was like best friends with him. So like we keep pointing that out and doing stuff to like to point out Eddie to like give you pathos for Rey to do his one move, head scissors on on a bunch of people.
His one move, we're still on the one move,
dude. Okay, so. They did a rematch between Asuka and Nia Jax. Asuka won by rolling her with a schoolboy. Anyway, so yeah, like like you're right. Like they had these two stars from a different era. They're stars because they were made back in the time. There was a bunch of people watching wrestling. They bring them out, and also to be fair, like Jeff and Rey both are good promos and they are a lot more trusted than Vince trusts the young guys, which I'm not saying that's fair, that's bullshit.
Look,
but
they're good promos now.
Yeah, now. Right now, which is like hilarious because like back then they were considered like these guys aren't good promos. Now they're like the best promos in the game now, which is like I thought they said old dogs didn't learn new tricks, but yeah, like that's kind of where they are now, and it's like, okay, so we're beating Jeff to put over Sheamus for what? Where does Sheamus go now after he beats Jeff Hardy?
Like I would have him fight Strowman.
Sheamus versus Strowman?
Yeah, and tell them to go hit each other hard for 10 minutes.
There are worse ideas. I'd rather watch Sheamus versus Strowman than Sheamus versus Corbin. So yeah.
See?
Yeah. But now the thing is, like, I'm trying to book on how can I book this thing to where, or in my mind I'm thinking, like, where do destinations replace for people to leave off now where, like, you know, it's musical chairs and, like, the person that's odd man out is Corbin. And now I'm like, you know what's about to happen. They're about to do Jeff versus Corbin.
Oh, God.
Right! And you know Corbin gonna win.
Can we just give Cesaro a Bum of the Month challenge against Strowman and make it the whole thing about how he wants to slam Strowman?
Oh my God, that'd be so good. But, you know, probably not. We're probably not going to get that.
Like, and he ends up slamming him, but ultimately doesn't matter. Like, Strowman, like, just jumps to his feet and destroys him.
Right. That would be funny. Like, he did it. You know, it's a flashback to WrestleMania 30. He did it. Picks up, power slam.
Exactly.
Yeah. What's the next match? Like, I will say this about this match. Like, the times when I was convinced to look up from my phone for like 10 seconds at a time, it looked like they were trying hard. I just couldn't care, and like I can't give it a fair judgment on the match, but I just wasn't interested in the match, obviously, because I'm not tied to the character, and like this is my first match actually seeing firsthand account footage of Sheamus being back in WWE, and I heard he's been back since like WrestleMania, after WrestleMania. So it's like they say he's been around for months. I haven't seen it, but apparently he is. So good for him on his road back.
I'm telling you, 2011. It's a shameful thing. Then we had the opener with the women's three-way. I thought they wrestled really fast. Some of it was sloppy. I thought Sasha almost broke her leg once, but luckily she was okay. And she ended up getting the pin on Alexa Bliss, which was like hilarious. She stole the pin
from Alexa Bliss, which is like, wow.
To finally defend a belt. Amazing.
Oh, wow. I didn't even think about that part. Yeah, that's
the first time she's ever defended a belt.
Wow. I didn't think of that part. I was thinking of the part where like somebody gets the pin and then like Alexa would just steal it at the end in all these multiple person matches, and like now it ain't no fun when the Rabbit's got the gun now, is it, Alexa? But that did happen. I thought it was a fun little match.
Yeah.
That's probably one of the best like iconics matches you'll ever find. Am I lying?
Overall, this show is like, check out Ordinance just to see what you thought of it. It's funny because this match was 44 minutes, which is 8 minutes longer than the WrestleMania match. And if you told me that, I would have never believed you, because the WrestleMania match felt like it was 75 minutes. It's like it was horrible. Like it was just like never ending. And this one, like, it didn't feel like that at all. It was like they just were working, and you were watching.
Right. So that match, the WWE title match between McIntyre and Lashley before the finish. I would also say check out Asuka and Nia just to watch Asuka. Like, I feel like it's a match that would have worked a lot better in front of a real crowd, because like a lot of this stuff was like very similar to like their takeover match. You know, like Nia has like her matches with Ronda, her matches with Bayley, and her matches with Asuka are like her only good matches. Like legitimately good, not like it was 2.5. No, like legitimately good matches. Or only with 3 people. So like in a lot of that, if you ever seen the takeover match, like there's a lot of Nia versus Asuka, Nia versus Bayley in that match. It just went really short. It was a TV match.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So we got...
Okay. Nope. They're about to go to the main event segment for Raw. While we were doing this podcast, they brought out Sasha and Bayley, tag champs, and they got in a fight with Peyton Royce and Billie Kay, and one of them slapped Sasha. And so, on pay-per-view, they advertised that the winner of the match was going to be on NXT, and they were going to fight in a women's tag title match against Tegan and Shotzi, right?
Yeah, so let me guess. They announced something for next week.
They just advertised Sasha and Bayley versus the Iconics on Raw next week
for the belts.
Right.
So like they just told you don't.
Foregone conclusion. We already knew it was a foregone conclusion, but at least fucking pretend. At least say just if. It's amazing how NXT for the NXT graphic they said. The champions leaving out of this match will face these two on NXT. But the NXT graphic, it says nothing of the sort of whoever wins this match between or happens on NXT will be on that. It's foregone fucking conclusion.
Look, they're telling you this is a wrestling school.
We already knew that, but at least pretend. If the wrestling school, look, they're all working at the same LA Fitness right now, aren't they?
Yes.
If they're all together, why can't you be able to synergize this shit to where, like, if one person has wherewithal to figure this out, y'all can too. Y'all right next to each other. Y'all related to each other. For fuck's sake.
Yeah.
Anyway, thumbs down.
We went pretty long on that.
I thought this was going to be one of the very worst pay-per-views of the last 5 years until the main event turned it around. The main event turned it from being one of the very worst pay-per-views of the last 5 years to just a bad standard pay-per-view, in my opinion.
Yeah. So like Wednesday stuff, I'm gonna just fly through this here, but AEW Dynamite loved this show. I don't know what it was, but everyone was like seemed like they were wrestling like really hard, and it was like straight off the rip. Like it was like FTR and Butcher and the Blade hitting each other like hard and just working and having a tough fight, and it was just like, oh, this is great. Like FTR was working at a very high level. Butcher and the Blade, just like I love those guys. I don't know why. You got Arn and Tully watching the match, so you get that visual of them and the Revival or FTR out there. Really enjoy that. Jericho was on commentary. He was fucking excellent for the whole hour. After the match, Butcher and Blade lost to the now known as the Goodnight Express, and then the Mindbreaker, kind of like with the Spike Piledriver deal. Bucks came out and basically said, we don't want to be rude, but we've been carrying tag team wrestling for like the past decade. It is finally nice to meet you. And before they can, actually shake hands with them again, they were interrupted by the Butcher and the Blade. A bunch of tag teams ran out. Sabian and Havoc and Hangman and Kenny ran out, and everybody was just staring at each other. So, kind of letting the lay of the land. And those look like those are the three teams to kind of figure it out. So, regardless of which one happens, I'll be ready for it.
Yeah, I was expecting something different from the Young Bucks. First time to talk to the Revival. I didn't think, I don't know, maybe it was after the Keith Lee thing, talking about Johnny Gargano, about like, you have took the... Oh my fucking God, Rich. Okay, so remember how they set up an unsanctioned match between Christian and Randy Orton?
Yeah.
Ric Flair was on TV this week, right?
For what?
I forgot, but he's there, right? So so bell rings, and before the match, I guess Rick, I didn't hear the conversation, but like Rick was talking to Christian, and it seemed like some, you think about whether or not you want to do this, kid, or something like that. Either it was like, think about whether or not you want to do this, or motivating him. One of the two. I don't know. I was listening. I was doing the podcast. So the bell rings. Rick's music hits, comes to the ring, he talks to Christian, and what do you think happened after that?
The RKO, or a low blow.
Ric Flair low blowed Christian, and then Orton punted him. The bell just rang now, and Orton's taking his pin.
That's amazing. I don't care about Christian coming back out of retirement. I've never liked him. I always thought Edge is better. Y'all killing me with this Christian Hall of Famer all time great shit. He was a nice little wrestler.
besides Caleb, who actually believes that?
People on Twitter. Go on Twitter right now.
Well, people on Twitter. Look,
little wrestler.
I like Christian a lot because, because those 2011 Orton matches, right? And also like the Del Rio matches he was having at SummerSlam. I think it was the year after, 2 years after. But like, I never thought of him as like some super duper Hall of Fame person. Also, like, his era is a part that I missed, so that's also has something to do with it. But like, when I came back to watching, like, I saw a lot of the Edge stuff, and I was like, okay, I get it now. Because I saw some of it. I never saw any of the Chris stuff that made me think I get it. Like, I was seeing him doing, ridiculous WrestleMania feuds with Trish Stratus and Lita and Jericho over, like, whether or not they could fuck the women. Like, I don't care. Like, he's a good wrestler. He's somebody I believe should absolutely have a job now that he can't be wrestling anymore. As a person that, lay out matches as a producer and that sort of thing. Like, I think he has that kind of mind of layouts for matches or whatever else. But that's about it. Right? Like, I don't think he's a Hall of Famer. I just don't. I think he's really good, but that's the end of it. And I'm somebody that, like, has a fondness for Christian. Look, that's where it stops, because like there have to be limits to the cap. Has to be limits to it.
I mean, he's no QT, so the Natural Nightmares next week will be getting the title match against Kenny Omega and Heyman Page. So I don't know if I'm more excited to see Kenny and Dustin in the same match or Kenny and QT. I don't know. I'm gonna love it. Some of the best in the game.
Know what to enjoy more between Kenny Omega and Dustin Rhodes or Kenny Omega and QT Marshall?
Yeah.
I may hang up on you. You're out of your fucking mind. We were just talking about people with there has to be a limit on the cap, and here you go talking about comparing QT Marshall to Dustin fucking Rhodes. Unbelievable.
Immediate violation, but you've been watching the progression of QT and Allie the last couple of weeks. What do you think about this? This romance.
I've enjoyed it. It's the rare time where I don't want him immediately off my fucking TV screen. So good job.
Amazing.
AEW will find a way to make people not just the worst. So good for them.
So we had a tag.
Can you imagine what they could do for Yano?
Man, I want Yano to come on BTE. That's all you got to do, and be around Frank Kazarian, because Kazarian is fucking hilarious, every week.
Oh yeah,
just the funniest guy. And he's usually dead serious about the shit. So he's basically man, cut the bullshit. This week, because what's his name? Daniels last week, he had a colonoscopy, in real life. So he basically told everybody about it. Yes. He was telling he didn't go into super graphic detail about it, but he was telling all the stuff he had to do that day for it. But then they made a gag that he's been talking about it ever since to everybody, and SCU was tired of hearing about this shit. And he ended up telling, I forgot who it was about it he was talking to, but basically Kazarian was like, man, I'm tired of hearing about this shit. You doing this shit again? Wrap this shit up. Essentially, go home, take it home. And then Matt Hardy would explain what taking home meant, because, the kayfabe explaining shit.
Wait, what? They're explaining kayfabe, even though everyone knows what kayfabe is that watches that thing?
They're all the insider terms. Matt Hardy basically pauses the time or whatever, and then explains it to the viewer or whatever.
Does he do this as Amadeus or what?
Yes.
Was it Amadeus? What was the name? What was his name? Damascus. That's right. Amadeus is totally different. Yeah. Amadeus is fucking a movie about Mozart. Sorry. All right.
And then, another part where he was funny was at the funeral for Vanguard 1. He's like, it's a fucking drone. What are we fucking doing here? You just have to see it. But we had a tag match with Hikaru Shida and the Galaxy's Greatest Alien, Chris Statlander, against Nyla Rose and Penelope Ford. Penelope ended up getting a dirty win on Shida, and Statlander ended up tearing her ACL. Literally the same injury as Tegan Knox. same dive, everything. Just land on the knee, crumble.
Yeah, it sucks. She's one of the biggest stars in the division, in a division that had, quite frankly, next to no depth. So that fucking sucks. I know. I guess they're gonna have to really rally around Swole now.
Yeah,
like Swole was like the number 4 or number 3 babyface in that division. Now she's number 2. They have to do a lot of work with her because like, one, she's not in front of a crowd, and she's naturally charismatic, and I think when she was doing the James Brown stuff, like the time she was doing on TV, like it got over, but that was so long ago, and she was away from, and she was she was away from a lot of those tapings when they first went to crowdless. So they have to get her up and running like right now.
Yeah,
like they need to be on the phone right now, like trying to figure out
whatever
what we gonna do to get her over, because we need baby faces.
So she looks like she's going to be probably defend the belt against Penelope Ford. One weird thing, like that with that dirty pin, I don't know. It's like some of the ways that they're determining these title shots are just fucking weird, and a dirty pin is like one of them. So it's like, well, can't we like review the tape, like and see some bullshit happen? No, okay, whatever. But they had Darby Allin out there with Tony Hawk, so I made a joke that Darby Allin eventually was going to get the skateboarding franchise video game, and then Tony Hawk shows up on Dynamite. I was like, what the fuck is going on out here? So he's coming down off a ladder doing dumb shit. But I think people were hoping that Darby Allin's in the video game.
It'd be a cool, secret character, because, they're coming out with a remake of Tony Hawk Pro Skater 1 and 2 as one game. It's basically like, the game with the same gameplay, same parks, except updated graphics. And they're also trying to get like as close to the first 2 soundtracks as possible. So, like as far as like bringing back track for track or everything. So, for me, one of the cool things about Tony Hawk Pro Skaters, they had unlockable characters. Like for number 2, they had Spider-Man. Spider-Man is a whole other type of franchise now. It has too many. The price for the brick is too high for Spider-Man probably at this stage of the game. So like, if you gonna go and get like Darby, that'd be cool. Like if he was in WWE, like, well, how do I say this? If AEW was as big as WWE, I can imagine it happening like really easily. But
I'm about to say, if he was in WWE, it wouldn't let him be in it.
Right. So that's why I said if AEW were as big as WWE, yeah, like that would be something they would do. But we'll see. Like I don't think it will happen. But like if he were on, if he were in a more open, if he were in a company that existed that were like AEW, but with like WWE, prestige or whatever you want to call it, then I could see that happening. But never say never, I guess.
Yeah.
Maybe if we put up enough Twittering and social media blasts or whatever else, we can try and get this cracked off, but popping. But probably not.
Well, it ain't nothing but a scan. You get your ass in there. So we had a 6-man match. Orange Cassidy and Best Friends against Inner Circles, Hager and Santana and Ortiz. All right, 6-man here. Orange Cassidy is awesome, and I recently like have come around to like thinking that he's like great. Like for me before it was just kind of like a gimmick or whatever, but like dude's like a super wrestler that whenever he quote unquote decides to turn it on, right? Mm-hmm. And he's just over, and that's I remember like when AEW first started, it was like people were like, well, what the fuck do you do with him? Should they even sign him? And now it's like it's a fucking no-brainer you sign this fucking dude.
Now like we find out like, oh yeah, he's one of like the 6 or so like most over people in the company. Or biggest acts in the company. Yeah, I don't know if I go as far as great. He's very good, but I think that his level of overness, like, he's so over with his act that like it allows him to do things, to do what he does, and it's not necessarily like it's so easy for him that it's hard to like.
You do what you want when you popping.
Yeah, I think he's more over than he is a great wrestler, but he's still a very good wrestler at least. So like I'll leave it at that. But like, do I think like he's good enough to be in the G1 and like match to match, put up like star quality matches with like the top half of the G1? I wouldn't go that far at all. But that doesn't matter. Like he's super fucking over, and he's good enough to do what he does. And it's going to stay over for a long time. It seems they don't fuck it up. So yeah.
He ended up getting the pin on Ortiz, and then Jericho basically came out there and he hit him in the head with a wooden bat, busting him open. More blood.
Yep,
so
more blood.
And this one would have worked great, I think.
In front of a crowd, yeah.
This one would have been like a big heat angle.
Well,
look, it would have worked greater if there hadn't been someone getting their head fucking bust the week before.
Right.
Right. It's just out of nowhere.
I am tired. Like, you're not supposed to use blood as much.
We said it would come back on the Lance Archer Dustin Rhodes match. We said the point would come, and I don't know if we've reached that point or if we're just confirming this for ourselves. I don't know.
Point for me, I'm done. I'm tired of the blood every single fucking.
I don't know if everyone else is feeling like that.
Right, I get you.
But I feel like we are confirming it. Like now we're counting. This is number 3, right?
Since.
And it's like what's gonna happen when we get to number 10? What we gonna feel like then?
Right. And it's also like the frequency of it. Like 10 is cool if like number 10 from now is like a year from now. But like at this rate you're going, like 10's gonna be before we even get to August. Relax.
Yeah.
Yeah, I like the angle. I think that doing Jericho versus Orange Cassidy is smart. Like you can beat Orange Cassidy is one of those no-lose situations. Like, you could put either one of them over, it'll work. Like, you could beat Orange Cassidy, you could beat Jericho, it'll work either way. But yeah, same thing with you. Like, they're doing blood too often, and blood should be something like if we were cooking, right? Blood shouldn't be black pepper where you use it on every fucking meal. It should be like, let's see. It should be like
powder,
garlic
powder or something.
It should be like cumin or some shit, like chili flakes, like something that you use. You use it. It's common. It's not out the blue. But it's not regular to where like people just they get nothing from it. Like it should be on every fucking dish or every other dish. It should be something that you break out like maybe once a month. MJF
cut an awesome promo and like they were like, yeah, you got 20 seconds, you do your thing, and he fucking did his MJF thing, and he's got a match set up with Billy next week.
Great.
So
I'd rather see Billy versus Wardlow, but okay.
Yeah.
Is he Billy Gunn, or can you not say? Or is it like Cody? Where you can't put them together.
He's Billy.
So it's like Cody. Okay, all right. You can't put them together. All right. Gotcha.
We got a nice TV match with Sammy Guevara and Colt Cabana. Colt Cabana just pumping these out. It seems like on a semi-regular basis. Sammy actually gets a fucking win. Thank you, for giving the Spanish gods some legitimacy. Basically, Sammy ended up getting the win after that. GCS type kick move he does. Then Dark Order tried to recruit on Colt, but the interesting part of this was Sammy, grabbing the mic and basically saying he's the best. And Matt Hardy came out and he said he was the future of AEW, but I might offer you some advice to maximize your full potential. You need to get away from Chris Jericho and the Inner Circle. Trust me. And that was like, wow, are we going to start getting like Sammy realizing that he's all alone because like nobody was out there with him, and he's like, is he going to start reaching like this level of success, like where he feels like the rest of the group's not standing close to him? Is he eventually going to turn on Jericho? Because eventually they're going to do Jericho and Sammy one day. But I'm really interested in this.
Okay, so was it Moxley or was it Cody that first brought that up about like Jericho don't really care about you, Sammy? Was it Cody?
I think it was Cody.
I feel like it was Cody. Yeah, so like I'm glad that
I wish he wouldn't have gone with Jericho. Like he said something like that.
Yeah. He pointed. I think it was during the Ellis Island speech. He pointed like you're hiding behind people. And I think he also threw out like you're hiding behind Sammy and using them or whatever. Like I think that I'm glad they're keeping up with that beat because eventually like once it happens, it's gonna be like, oh, and like they've been dropping hints at that for a long time, and ultimately, like that's what it's gonna be. Is like eventually one of them gonna turn each other, and it's gonna be either I used you, I've lost my use for you, you're dead to me, hold this back elbow, or it's gonna be like he's gonna oust Jericho, or he's gonna oust Jericho out in a circle. It's gonna be like Asuka knocking out Arisa Nakajima out of their group in Sealy back in a few months back. So
or it could be like Sammy, like I don't need you, like you stifled me, and
just he leaves on his own volition, and like and there ain't no leaving. There could be some of that, like there ain't no leaving out this gang. So there's a bunch of stuff they could play with that eventually down the line, but like I do like the fact that they're keeping this up with him as his long form. Now as far as them eventually having a match, like they had teased that match for the Hardy compound for a while. I don't know if they're going to go and actually do it, but they were talking about that months ago. They could always bring it back.
Yeah, I think if it's me, right, maybe eventually the day Jericho's done or whatever, right, like you have Sammy beat him on the way out. Like I think that would be a nice like little like however you're gonna do it, you have Sammy beat him on the way out.
Yeah.
So. Up next, we got something I fucking loved, was the Joey Janela video package, because this felt like the Joey Janela that became one of the biggest stars like on the independent scene, that was like shooting his own vignettes and everything. He was like somewhere in the last 6 months he lost his direction and he was drinking, and then he stumbled out to the street, because why would it be Joey Janela without drinking? And then Sonny rolled up in something foreign, I imagine.
God damn it.
He's like, what you doing here? And then, the New Jersey connection, and they've been teaming up on Dark the last couple of weeks. I believe they have a match tomorrow night on Dark too. So they've already started giving them wins as the vignette plays. And then he got in the car, and then they rode off and said, to be continued. Sonny Kiss and Joey Janela, how about it?
Yeah, start to push fucking now. Do it now.
Look,
like seriously, like there's no reason why, like SCU, they're phasing them down after this, and they're going to go with Kazarian and Scorpio as as singles or whatever else or maybe they put them in trios, I don't know, but like after you get past the Elite and you look at the tag division, it's kind of it has quality depth, but like without the Lucha Bros right now, it feels like it needs some oomph. And like with Janela and young Sonny, like you could always have a quote unquote young / fresh tag team that's a babyface tag team that you can put in matches and beat. Like, because they don't really use Private Party that much on TV. They're mostly a dark act, and like if this is, we'll see. Like Private Party is going to need quote unquote modern contemporary, like homegrown contemporaries. Like we were just talking about a few weeks ago with MJF and Jungle Boy and Darby and Sammy. Like if you're going to have a young tag team like Private Party, they're going to need a quote unquote career rival, and like just because
all those other teams are older than them.
Right. Evans, yes, and like even though like we thought it was gonna be like Angelico and Evans, like Jack Evans old as shit. He just looks young.
Yeah.
So like, like it didn't really work right now. You can always go back to it with Janela because but in the meantime, like he's super overqualified to be in a tag team. So go with it right now. Like you decided to not go with the Dustin and Sonny thing, or not go with it, but like you decided to go somewhere else with Dustin with a tag team partner. So now you got Janela. Great. Put them on Dark. Let them have matches and let them in Private Party fill out like the young gunners of this tag division in the future.
Yeah. I'm in on it. I like the aesthetic. I like the act. Like,
I don't know why I like it, but I do like it though. It makes no sense, but it's like
fresh. It's fly.
I think that's what it is.
The first time I saw it, it was like I saw a picture and it was like Joey Janela, and it looked like they were like smoking. It felt like smoke was everywhere, and he had like his hat pulled low, and he kind of had his arm wrapped around Sonny Kids, and Sonny Kids was kind of like posing or whatever. I was like, wow. I was like, the man he's so secure. He's so like he's fucking Joey Janela. It's like, yeah, I have this gay guy here with me, whatever. But that's just like it's just like and then Sonny Kids being
you look at Janela online, and Janela is a very like Janela is for the people, and the people is everybody. Like, yeah. He has a weird aesthetic thing going on that I can't quite put my finger on. I don't know if it's actually me projecting or if it's actually there, but like it's just like, yeah, man, I'm just here to have a good time with everyone. I don't give a shit. That's what it seems like.
Yeah,
I'm here to kick back and drink. Like,
yeah,
unless he wants to fucking randomly fight.
Janela zone, but Janela enter the Janela zone.
Yeah, But yeah, like I didn't know about that pictures you saw or anything. I just saw the video package thing or whatever else.
Very similar feel.
Okay, and then all of a sudden, Sonny Kids pulls up and he's like, "Get in!" I was like, "Yes, make them a tag team now. Do it now." This it was just like the light bulb in my head was like, "This is ingenious. I never would have even thought of something like this." But like, this seems like this is going to be successful.
Yeah, I'm with it.
Yeah.
Then Moxley came out outside the arena. This was awesome too. Yes. I ended up, cutting a promo, basically saying, I got no time for people that run their mouth. All week, Taz been telling people that Brian Cage is going to beat me at Fyter Fest, and I can't wait till I can beat Brian Cage and pop Taz's head like a pimple. Then Taz just fucking shows up like full of that New York, tall man energy that he doesn't have because he's not actually tall.
All the Joe Pesci.
Yes. Yes, all the Joe Pesci, the fucking, just like way outsized personality. Like, and he's like a guy that is, you just believe him when he talks.
Yeah.
And him and Mox like just have this dynamic where it's like, he's like, man, I feel like Taz looks at him like, if I was 20 years younger, I would fuck you up. Like, I'd beat your ass.
Right. It's you know what it is? Him, Taz, and MVP are playing very similar roles. And I just popped in my head just now when you mentioned it's like ex-wrestlers, ex-guys that were, either legitimately or because of Heyman's genius were considered to be tough guys. And they come off as believable tough people the way they talk and present themselves. And they're old heads, and they're past their day, but you just know it was like, I wish I was just a decade younger so I could whoop your ass. I hate this baby face in front of me. I want to fuck them up, but I can't. But you know what? I'm gonna do something else. I am going to endorse the person that will whoop their ass, and I'm gonna catch derive so much pleasure from being next to engineering, architecting the person that's going to take everything from you. Like, yes, they're very similar. I just playing in my mind, but like, yes, and they're both doing great jobs with it. Both of them. Like, I really, really enjoy Edge and Ambrose. Moxley's chemistry. Like, Moxley, I don't think Moxley has had a quote unquote home run promo yet, but he keeps hitting these doubles into these stand up doubles into the gap, and they're just so fun. Like,
see, Brian Cage came out there yoked out of his mind, wearing no like looking directly like out of the 1990s, like no belt on his jeans.
Yes,
like
no belt, tight jeans, tan boots, straight WCW shit.
Bro, this was fucking awesome. Like, I can't wait for this match.
He came out there and he beat his ass, and then Taz said, "That's enough. You prove your point. Save some for Fyter Fest." Then the monster got out of the cage, and it was very Brock Lesnar Heyman-ish, where Taz couldn't control Cage, so Cage ends up was it powerbomb?
I think he spine busted him on the card.
Yeah, he gave him a spine buster on top of the card. I can't wait. I love this feud so much. Already. It's only been like 3 weeks of it. It's so good.
Yeah, and then we got the main event. So last week I came on here and buried Cody a million feet deep. I'm not going to do that this week because this match was way better, even though they did a lot of goofy shit in it.
Oh, the Seth Rollins?
They did a lot of goofy shit on it. Yeah, because, like, you know, but that's like a thing you can pick on with whoever, like with leg selling. But, you know, as the veteran of the match, I would look at Cody and be like, all right, you know what this guy wants to do, right? So Quinn did sell really well. It's just like you still made him do all his high flying. Whatever.
It's a type of selling. It's a type of selling, right? Like it's a type of selling that I hate personally, but it's a type of selling that exists. I just hate it. So it's a matter of taste. But like I hate the part where like you are selling a leg injury. So you're going to thereby then do a spot that injure your leg, even though you are a person with a brain, and continue to do it, as opposed to then just change your game to show your resourcefulness and your resiliency to overcome said injury, which is the point of the injury to begin with in the storytelling. For most wrestling matches, like, so for me, it's kind of like, I get you're showing the heart, but like, the heart stuff don't really move me personally. Like, I feel like you're just a dumbass, you know? So that's the reason why I hate it personally. Like, when Seth started doing it in 2017, it was because, like, you're the architect. They're saying you're a goddamn genius and a mastermind. What is masterful brain-wise about this? Jump. Yeah. Ah, my knee. Jump again. Ah, my knee. But, you know, Quinn's a young dude or whatever else. And, you know, he hadn't had a singles match for 3 years. I thought this was awesome. I thought Cody looked like he was a guy that was getting a lot of moves done to him. Kind of Adam Cole-ish in this match. But Quinn was like, I'm not about to let the Jungle Boy leave me in the dust. Like, you know, for someone that, you know, you look at Mark Quinn, you look at the Jungle Boy, they're the same age. She's like, why that can't be me? Like, why can't I be, you know, out here, you know, getting my rocks off, essentially? Like how many single matches I'm gonna get? So are you now convinced that Mark Quinn is the Sean and Isaiah is the Jannetty yet? Or are you still on the team Isaiah? I'm not on team Isaiah. I'm like Team Private Party. Okay. No, I'm not. I don't mean like one is your bro. It's like I just think I've always thought Quinn had a bit more star quality and seemed to be like the better wrestler. I think Isaiah's the talker. I think. That's true. That's true. That's true. So. But yeah, this was it was nice. They did end it with the We Are the World stuff, with the celebrating with, you know, the babyface and Cody going over another babyface here. Next week, he's the bigger star. He's beating on the young dude. Like, if this is in Japan, you have no problem with a main event star beating up a young girl or a young boy. You wouldn't. It's Cody though, so rules are different. Oh my god! See. You know, I just see him as a heel. You know, oh my gosh. You know, he went out here and clearly he took a match against a man he knew had a leg injury, like you asshole, like, and beat on the leg the entire time. Like, you out here trying to fight below your weight class right now, Cody. But. You know, Ross ended up praising Mark Quinn, and Schiavone said he gave Cody a hell of a fight, unlimited potential. Ross said, then... Did he say you have all the right tools? or all the tools?
I don't have all the tools on there, but funny. Yeah, they saved that for Scorpio Sky.
Yeah, so good point. Very good point.
So
speak so
then.
He's so articulate.
Oh my god. Then, oh my god, Jake Hager walks out for no fucking reason.
I forgot about this.
Oh my god. So I had a bunch of Cody memes ready to go.
Before we get to that, because we leave off, they have Private Party has new music. It's so much better than
it's hard. Music. It's hard. I like the drop for it, everything. Like it feels a lot more them. So Hager walks out there, and then Cody all of a sudden just offers him a fucking title shot. Like, yeah, I know what you want. Like, damn, he ain't even ask. Like, I what the fuck? Like, how we know Hager? What was he out there for? Like, you want to do a title match at Fyter Fest, and there was like a pull apart brawl and all this other shit. And I'm like, I don't want to watch Jake Hager versus Cody. Like, I was like, all the memes I didn't send out, I will save them for Fyter Fest because I know that match isn't going to be good. I'm sorry, man. Like, Hager, we already saw, bro. Jake Hager, I think we came on this show and we were like, well, how about we get him to wrestle some people that weren't in WWE just to, get him, some new, get him a new look. What do? They go to the most WWE in this guy they have in Cody now with Hager, and not really excited for it. And I'm like, they got like, how many more open challenges does Cody have until then? So it's like all those opponents are kind of on ice now. There is a mystery opponent, which I won't reveal. I'll probably tell James off air if he wants to know. But they're bringing in an import this week to face Cody. So who they're going to bring the week after, I'm not sure. But Cody versus Hager, how about it?
Yeah, man. Not looking forward to the match. I'm already trying to figure out who's going to play it and in what way. And yeah.
So now Cody will morph into an amateur wrestler for this one now.
Yeah, I guess. I don't know. They did put that over. Yeah, man. Like, I would say like the one like not good match that Moxley has had on AEW has been that empty arena title match against Hager. Hager, he's not adjusted his style at all. I thought he would. Maybe he would if he were wrestling smaller guys. Like maybe he was like basically being like the quote unquote Sheamus of AEW. He's wrestling like the Pipsqueaks. If he's wrestling like the young dudes, like like Janela or a Private Party member or Darby or Jungle Boy, right? But until then, he has basically kept the same style, and it is not a style anybody or I don't particularly enjoy. So yeah, the idea of him and Cody going out there and having one of them,
no,
I am not enthused. We'll see. But did they say they didn't? Okay, so the import is going to be on this episode of Dynamite coming.
One more time. What was that?
The next challenger for the Open Challenge is going to be is it this week or next week?
Is this week?
Okay.
It's already been taped.
Okay.
So
okay, all right.
It's going to be interesting, and I hope that guy sticks around because I like him. So y'all will have to see who it is.
Somebody I already know. It's somebody that like I know and watch and enjoy myself.
You've heard the name. I don't know if you've ever seen him.
Okay, all right.
So,
fair enough.
He can talk his ass off. So, anything happen on the yellow side?
The yellow side, yeah, man. So for weeks I have been bemoaning, like, really since Portland, I have been bemoaning, like, they seem to have no big picture direction for NXT. As far as, like, the champion, the top title pictures. So, especially after Portland, like, it kind of all the wheels kind of all fell off, like, on the show, on the go-home week of Portland, and then the immediate show after. This cycle, they didn't have none of those problems. Like, yes, they got to In Your House takeover, and, like, a lot of the feuds were just thrown out there with just names or whatever else, and they were underdeveloped or things that you don't want to see. But the things that were carrying NXT were the Cruiserweight tournament and fleshing out the mid-card for the women's division and writing off Matt Riddle. So, coming out of it, like, they have clearly found something in this whole Garganos versus Yim and Lee thing. So that's gonna be interesting to see in the weeks coming and going. Like, they had a mixed tag match where Johnny is just a piece of shit. Like, the match ends where, like, we're actually going through the match, Mia Yim starts whooping Johnny's ass. Johnny's selling his ass off. It's just fucking hilarious. Like, I want to see a Johnny Gargano versus Mia Yim match now. The match ends where Candice gets laid out inside the ring. Keith Lee's inside the ring. Johnny hits a slingshot DDT where he basically DDTs Keith Lee onto Candice's corpse, and then Keith Lee comes to realize that Candice is hurt because he's not an asshole. He tries to get her some medical help. He lifts her up and tries to take her out the ring, and as she goes to take her out the ring, Johnny comes from behind and hits the schoolboy for the win. And he rolls out the ring with Candice's dead body, lifts up Candice's dead body. It's some full Weekend at Bernie shit where, like, Candice is dead, and he basically, like, grabs her arm and holds her arm up in victory. He never actually looks to check in on her health. He's just, like, looking back at, like, keep the mad Keith Lee inside the ring and Mad Mia Yim inside the ring, and just, like, holds her up, and just, like, he is so unconcerned with his wife that just was fucking murdered. He is an asshole. She should have divorced him a year, or actually, like, 15 months ago, like I was saying back then. At the times he was so shitty as a husband and a person, and, like, just so interested on this fucking fake, or what, on this fucking wrestling, as opposed to, whatever, the just toxicity because of Ciampa. Anyway, so I really enjoyed it. I really want to look. I'm not saying they're going to do it because they're probably never going to do it, but, like, I want to see Johnny Gargano Keith or Mia Yim match. I really do. It was so good. Then from there,
look, I want to see Keith Lee versus Candice LeRae.
Oh, dude, if you saw one, okay, there was a spot in that match where, how Keith Lee, like, people come off diving and Keith Lee always catches them.
Yeah,
they did a spot like that where he catches Candice, or actually beginning of the match. Before the match, right as the bell rings, Mia gets in Johnny's face, and they start going to a corner, opposite one of the corners, and they start arguing. Then Candice gets in Keith Lee's face, and Keith Lee's like, "What you arguing with me for? I've done nothing wrong. talk to your mans. I ain't got shit to do with here. He's an asshole, so I want to fight him. I have no problems with you, Candice." So eventually, he literally puts two hands on little Candice, and lifts her up in the air, and then basically moves her like a box of books, like, and just
moves her out of the way,
and then places her down, like, nicely, whatever else. And I thought, like, I was just wait. I don't know if it's online. I was waiting to look on Twitter and see, like, go look and see someone had found a picture of him lifting him up, of him lifting her up. And then, like, you can see in the bottom left corner, like, a blacked logo. But I don't know if it existed. But I figured someone was going to be Johnny on the spot and do that. But whatever. But yeah, like, I'm interested to see what they do between those four in the future. That's not over. Before they went out there for the match, Keith Lee, because it opened with Adam Cole doing a promo about how he banished. About how, he finished with Velveteen, and he's going to then wrestle his freak, Loomis. And before they meet up backstage, Yim and Lee and Undisputed backstage, and Keith Lee was like, he basically made it known that, like, yeah, man, like, we limitless over here, and what's more, and, you know, the sky's the limit, or we're limitless, so, you know, NXT title, why not? Double champ. So they threw that out there before they did that. So, like, Keith Lee wants the NXT title, which makes sense because you look at the actual viable contenders, he's definitely one of them. So they did Cameron Grimes and Finn Balor on a rematch after, you know, what happened a few weeks ago. They have a really good match. People say it was great. I'm gonna go that far. I may have been burnt out by the wrestling, but I didn't think it was great. I'd probably give it like 3.5, 3 3/4. Finn Balor at the end ends up winning, gets the win back. They set it up throughout the night though, where Grimes talking shit about beating Finn Balor, pointed out that Priest didn't beat Finn Balor at TakeOver, says he couldn't get the job done. Priest walks up because he heard him talking that shit backstage and was like, hey man, good match. You almost had him. You know, kind of like, you know, good job, man. You know, I want no smoke. He cracks him in the jaw. Later in the show, one of the refs is talking on a Zoom call to Regal, trying to tell Regal that, like, yeah, man, that match is all between Balor and Grimes because Grimes says he has a broken jaw, which is like, fuck, you got a medical staff for if he can just tell you that he has a broken jaw.
Yeah.
So they cut the commercial. They
self-diagnosis.
Yeah, right. He's you know, Holiday Inn Express. So then you get Regal telling the ref, go find him, I need to talk to him. So they come out of commercial break, and Grimes is backstage spitting game to these two girls. Now, one of the girls, you know, she is one of the few black women wrestlers from Atlanta. You told me about her before.
Brianna Brandy?
That's who it is. Brianna Brandy, right? He was spitting game to her, talking about, you know, they were like, you know, I thought you were hurt. Nah, man, they get a little punch, you know, just a little punch from Priest. I'm good, man. I'm tough. You know, I'm tough. So all of a sudden, the ref is like, Cameron. And Cameron's like, beat it, ref. I'm trying to get on these women. Beat it. Then all of a sudden, he's like, look, man, I'm trying to tell, and after, you know, tell him to beat enough times, he's like, look, man, I have Regal on the line right here. All of a sudden, his eyes bug out, and then he turns around to the video call, and he's like, he grabs his jaw and starts saying like, oh, you know, the jaw hurts, whatever else. And then all of a sudden, Regal goes, it can't be that bad. I just heard you talk to these two lovely young women. He turns around, all of a sudden, he's like, beat it, kick rocks, I hate y'all. So Regal said, take your ass to the ring, your match is still on, you gonna wrestle Finn Balor, and then Balor beat him at the end or whatever else. Like, that was the story. Like, so Grimes, he's a total geek, he's a goofball, but like, him getting these moments is like, I feel like, because obviously every time he gets in the ring in NXT, he gets himself over just from his work. But I think eventually he's going to get over. Mm-hmm. Once they get a real crowd back or whatever else, it won't just be dead silence when he comes out. Then his matches happen, the crowd starts going crazy for his matches. I think eventually, like, they'll kill him around to like, oh yeah, he's just a fucking geek jackass. He's a shithead, and like, we hate him, but he's also really good. So you know, he'll eventually get himself over as a heel. Oh yeah, so out comes Phantasma. Boy. Out comes Phantasma to celebrate that he won the Cruiserweight title last week. And he's about to talk. Out comes Drake Maverick. Drake Maverick has new music. You know, I guess when you get your job back, you get new music. He comes out and says, look, people have been talking about me all week, but people haven't been talking enough about you. You won. You're the champion. You deserve it. Congratulations. You were great throughout the tournament. But I want you to know, like, I think I can beat you. I want a rematch. Babyface, you know, white meat babyface said Phantasm is, you know, just just agrees to it, shakes his hand, and it's all good. So then out come the two goons. Now keep in mind, like, except for like one match in the tournament, the goons have came out and interfered in like every single Phantasma match, or have also eventually just or also like have beat down people that Phantasma have happened to beat later on in the show. Like he beat Tozawa, or like the goons attacked Tozawa after Phantasma beat Tozawa, right? So all of a sudden it's like, you know, because of the title match, Maverick lost because the goons came out as a distraction. He warded off the goons that were attacking, that were trying to attack, or were attacking on Phantasma. And when he came back to the ring, he caught Phantasma's finish, and that was the end of the match. So they go back to back as they, you know, the two go on opposite side, or the two goons come up on opposite sides of the ring. And then all of a sudden, Phantasma comes away from the back to back and turns around on and faces Maverick's back, and then Maverick feels it like they're not back to back anymore. He's like, I've been set up. Fuck.
Yep, so, I've been had.
Right. So, you know, it's very much like the Undertaker stuff, where Undertaker's like, oh God, he's behind me. He turns around. So he attacks the dude, the first goon that's on the apron, and then he turns around and Phantasma starts attacking him and gets beat 3-on-1. And then next thing you know, the goons unmask, and it's Raul Mendoza and Joaquin Wild, Ion Zima, DJ Z, the first two people that were kidnapped by the goon, by the masked luchadors in suits. So then Phantasma takes off his mask. Keep in mind, he hasn't spoken a single word of English, not once on his promos, his video package vignette when he debuted. None of that. It's all been in Spanish and subtitled. He takes off the mask, he looks dead into the camera, and he says, my name is Santos Escobar. And then all of a sudden, he has Drake Maverick laid out in front of him. The two dudes do stereo dives like the Usos on top of Drake Maverick's body. And that was pretty much it. I forgot what that after he said his name, but it was like he spoke perfect fucking English, and it was like,
no one can touch me. I heard
right. I am touchable, and it's like, yo, like, so it's one of two things. It's one.
So who are the other luchadors?
Okay, so it's one of two things, or maybe three things, but either it's one of the masked dudes when they were snatching these dudes up out of the parking lot. It was always the other guy plus Mendoza to fake you out on thinking. Because remember, these are always done in front of camera crews. These was never like the camera's not there. It was always the actual camera crew was there. It was always like interviewing Raul Mendoza after a tough loss and he gets snatched up. It was always Wild snatched up. Oh, it was always interviewer with Tozawa after the match with Phantasma, and Phantasma shakes his hand. And then like when they attacked Akira Tozawa, they attacked him against the car door that Phantasma couldn't get out of. So by the time he got out, they had already beat up Tozawa and had gotten in the car and left before the Phantasma get out the other opposite the passenger side. Like, so it's either that or it's like it was always three people, and it was two guys always attacking one unmasked guy or whatever. They're taking off screen. It was months ago. You don't remember. Or these are flat out like, because his last name is Escobar, these are just flat out like cartel implications.
Yeah, like they drug dealers without the drugs.
Right.
Like that's what's going on.
Yeah, like LAX in the who was LAX against? I mean, in Impact.
I think it was LAX and then the original LAX, but LAX.
What was it? OGs was her name?
OGs.
That's right. Yeah, OGs. Yeah. When they was out here doing drive-bys and kids getting hit with cars.
Real cinematic stuff. Like, I remember when you remember that fight that they had?
I don't really.
They went to go fight in the street, and then like Conan was involved in the fight, and yeah, that shit was hilarious.
Okay.
Yeah, but I had thought like Raul Mendoza had kidnapped himself or some shit like that.
It's a possibility. Like that's a tight. Like there's one thing they have to say. Like on the back end, it was like either if you lean on these cartel implications, then clearly like there's a number of mass luchadors. Like for example, right? Somebody else pointed out like Jake Atlas on the other side of the bracket. Jake Atlas could be a quote unquote fourth person in this thing potentially, right? Because he was always friends with and encouraging Drake Maverick to make it and to win, but Drake Maverick ended up getting out of the bracket or getting out of that group. But either way, ultimately what it does is it set up the landscape for the cruiserweight division, because you have Escobar / Phantasma on top.
So you got another heel group.
Yeah. So, but at least this was interesting. Like, it is new. Like, it's supposed to. I agree. Like, yeah, it's new, but it's still ultimately like more evil on top. I get you. I absolutely get you. Like, and I wish there were more baby faces on top, but like, this ain't what they do. So, like, I'm okay with it. And I thought this was a brilliant swerve. Like, this was like the best swerve that was actually like a swerve that made some goddamn sense in a long ass time. Like, this is one of the best things that I've seen on TV in a long time. But what it does say is like, when he showed up, there were talks about like he has a tattoo of a yin yang, a Tao on his chest, and like when he comes out on his Titantron, they that's his logo is a yin yang. So like there could be a play to where like it's to quote Jay-Z, it's like a duality between the babyface luchador Phantasma and then the evil that is Santos Escobar. My bad.
Yeah, that fucking name. Like, yeah. Come on, man. Like,
I'm telling you, that's what it is going to be. Cartel implications. Like, it's more than just two masked goons. But then anyway, like what it does set up is, given the results of the tournament, Swerve's the only person to beat. To beat Phantasma in the tournament, so he's a potential title challenger. Kushida was still owed his title shot. Was owed a title shot because he got screwed out of the triple threat. Right, he's a potential top baby face. Right, Drake Maverick is immediately the first person who's going to get the first title shot, and he's going to beat him obviously. But that's the first one, right? And then you're off to the races. And then you can have all these matches with DJZ and Raul Mendoza versus Swerve or Drake Maverick or Kushida or even Atlas. And Atlas is also, he could be a heel that eventually, shows himself to actually be a part of this operation, or he could just be a straight up babyface too. Like, so like they have done with this tournament, like this turned into something even better than I thought. And the sad thing is like, this was excellent television, but it wasn't on TakeOver. And like, this is what kind of like saved the show the last like 3 or 4 weeks.
Yeah.
After that,
they are going head to head. Like, I mean, Fyter Fest is happening in a month. There's a reason these programs are getting rolled out, at the speed they are.
Yeah. And then you also have, and NXT is very much destination. Like when they don't have a destination, it's like, then what is this? And then after that, the only thing really to mention on NXT really is the tag match that they're going to have next week with Sasha and Bayley showing up against Shotzi and Tegan. We're going to get Imperium, Eichner Bartel versus Breezango. They did a good video package of Breezango about like, yeah, we were some of those colorful acts in NXT, on SmackDown the last few years, but we became such goofballs that, we weren't worried about what happened with the bell ring, and we had to refocus, and that's why we, title contenders, Eichner Bartel's going to beat them, and they're also playing on the, super serious, the Ring of Sacred versus the goofballs, so that's easy story. That's next week is a title match. The women's title match is talked about, and then they did Loomis versus Adam Cole. Good match considering what Loomis is. Loomis is basically just 90s Undertaker / Kane, really more Kane. He ends up beating him at the end with normal undisputed cheating. So Loomis and after the match is over, Loomis and Velveteen brawl to the back with Fish and Roddy. Cole thinks it's all sweet. Out comes Scarlett. Scarlett pulls out a
hourglass.
Yeah, I was like, what the fuck is an hourglass? I can't even think of the word. Thank you. Pulls out hourglass, flips it over, indicating obviously your time's up. TikTok, and then even though it's not TikTok, but yeah. So crossing, and looks like the immediate thing is Cross versus Cole.
It's like, why the fuck would you have Adam Cole be the champion over a fucking year as a heel to have him lose to another fucking heel? Like,
yeah, that's the thing.
What?
That's the thing.
Like, what? Like, who benefits from this? And that, like, he's the new and they clearly want to make him the top star now. I'm sorry. Like beating Tommaso Ciampa in 6 minutes, like, it feels like it's not enough, but, like, they're jetpacking this nigga. Like,
yeah, they're putting a rock strap to him. There are things I like about him, but do I like? Yeah, I want him to be the next NXT champion. No, but it's like whatever. Like, who? If it's not going, like, somebody has to eventually beat him, and like the person that should have beat him, they just moved to SmackDown.
Look, they'll find another heel to get that shit too.
Yep.
Yeah, they had Scarlett looking crazy, and I'll leave it at that.
I mean, she's in a full of leather or pleather bodysuit.
I'm talking about, like, the hair. Like, it's like this is a far departure from the Smoke Show.
I mean, do you want her to be the Smoke Show and wrestle?
The Smoke Show didn't wrestle.
I could have swore she wrestled.
I don't recall her having any matches. She was doing
she was in Stardom, Rich. She was wrestling at some point. Maybe not no more.
I'm talking about Impact.
Okay, fair enough.
Yeah. So this is also a far departure.
Scarlett 2017 Stardom. Ross Gal always ahead.
Yeah. Adam Cole versus Karrion Kross. Not exciting. Oh well.
I don't know. There are no good options for Adam Cole that aren't like Keith Lee. That aren't like, I mean, there are 4 options. Finn Balor they've already done. Keith Lee's already a fucking champion. Walter, I don't know if he can get into the country or when he can get into the country. The one I would want the most to see right now would be Walter versus Adam Cole, based off what they did at what's it called? Worlds Collide in January. But who knows when we're ever going to get that, or if we're ever going to get that, because of COVID and travel bans.
Yikes. So before we get up out of here, I guess we got to talk about Heyman getting the axe.
Yeah.
So he was around for just over a year, and eventually people got tired of him. There's some, rumors that are around that, he didn't get along with a lot of the older stars because, of course, Paul Heyman always wants to push the younger talents up. Because Paul Heyman,
it's almost as if he knows, like, the lifeblood of wrestling is young talent and being able to cycle through it.
Yep. And that's never going to go over well with, like, older people that have been around that are looking like, oh, I'm about to be replaced. Paul Heyman's like an NBA general manager, always building for the future, hoping you can always tear it down to be able to have job security. But working for Vince McMahon, there is no such thing as job security. And aside from, like, this always happens with Heyman. This is what it is. Like, eventually Vince is tired of the shit, and then he puts fucking Bruce Pritchard in charge. My God. Bruce Pritchard hustled, scammed, lied his way back to being the right-hand man and basically running WWE. I blame you, Conrad. I blame Conrad for this. I can't believe this man turned shitting on Dave Meltzer into, like,
and shitting on Dave Meltzer by lying.
Like,
if you want to think of, like,
he's
like
a Nestor of the Year nominee now.
Yeah, yes. One thing I would say, especially about, like, why it's, like, especially bad, is, like, there are things to actually criticize Dave Meltzer about, because Meltzer will say stuff that he has no business saying, like, like, who gives a fuck if it's actual oral chemo or not, Dave? Who gives a fuck about, you trying to speak in code to talk about Peyton Royce's breast implants by saying she was heavier. There are things he will step on. He's not the great. Look, I don't think there really is any really good like 60s or person in their 50s or 60s that's white and is good on talking about race, really. But Meltzer's not good on talking about it. Like, he means well.
I will give Dave this. He wrote an excellent column in the Observer last week, like regarding Black Lives Matter.
Okay. But in general, you know, he's just like, he tries to mean well, but obviously, like, he's not great at it. So, like, he's one of those well-meaning white people we were talking about last week that, you know, as far as like, you're gonna get drugged for the stuff you know, while trying to quote unquote maneuver through this and try to learn and grow. Like, we gonna dunk on you and clown on you, and like, Dave Meltzer is no exception to that.
You come out better on the other side,
right? Yeah. So, what was I gonna say? Yeah. So, like, there was stuff to actually get on him about, right? Like, you know, writing stuff that like for jokes or whatever else, as opposed to, you know, just giving it to you straight with his opinion. Well, his opinion does verge into insult comedy sometimes, but so yeah, but like, so there's stuff to talk about with Dave Meltzer, and also, you know, his propensity for like enjoying wrestling that's more based on a particular set of wrestling than like all the wrestling, even though he pretends that he doesn't have a bias. He clearly does. But yeah, so, and I'm not saying this. Whatever. I'm not
biased towards the good wrestling.
No, he is more on the work rate moves type of wrestling as opposed to like, and if it was like all the selling and no moves, or all the moves and no selling, he'll gladly take all the moves and no selling. So anyway, my point was, there's stuff to actually say about Dave Meltzer, but to, like, you know, constantly shit on him about like his opinion on some shitty match from 1997 on some B pay-per-view. Who gives a flying fuck? Like, you know, it's just you know, whatever. It is what it is. He has
Mabel's the third man. That type of shit. Like,
say again?
Like that Mabel's the third man type shit. Like, nah, man. Like,
yeah. Like, so for me, it's just like, look, you were worried about the wrong things or whatever else. Like, you fed to this group of people that, you know, think that Dave Meltzer is anti-WWE for some weird fucking reason, even though, you know, like, he may or may not have been on the payroll at some point. But that's another story. So that's where we are. He was fired for bringing a fucking gun to work, and he's back with the company. He is now like the head writer for both shows, even though he was already the writer on the show. They had the least young people watching it, and had the show with like the least that people liked the least, even though like Heyman had the 3-hour show and Heyman and Pritchard had the 2-hour show. And Pritchard had the advantage of being on the one that was Fox, while Heyman had the one that was on USA Network. Like, the person that should have been fired should have been Pritchard, not Heyman. But life ain't fair, so here we are.
but you know who's not fired?
Vince McMahon?
No. JEFFJARRETT. That's right. Jeff Jarrett. Jeff Jarrett will be the last man standing, James. Jeff Jarrett will own the WWE one day. I'm calling it now. End the show. Like, Jeff Jarrett will win at the end. I'm betting it. Jeff Jarrett is going to run the WWE, because who is going to run the WWE when Vince went to jail? Jerry Jarrett.
Jerry, yeah.
We know Jeff got money. We know he's around. We know everybody likes him. He's going to run WWE one day.
It's really sad that, like, you have all these people. Like, it's really sad that, like, Triple H is one of the best bookers in the world, and he's further away. It seems like he's further away from potentially, like, becoming the head of this shit than before. Like, it makes no fucking sense. Like, you ask anybody that's watched the TV over the last, when did Pritchard get the job? Like, this fall, like the summer or the fall of last year?
like last year.
Did he got it right before they moved to Fox, right?
Yeah.
So he's had it for over 6 months. He's had it for he's basically had it for like 8 months now. You want to compare NXT's 8 months of TV to or you want to compare SmackDown's 8 months of TV to NXT's? They're both 2-hour shows, right? Yeah. So nonsense. Just total fucking nonsense. Whatever.
I think they're trying to protect Triple H from himself.
You know what? We're at a point now where the creative
we
is so
need to just
bad.
find out.
Huh? Yes.
We need to just find out.
We are that bad right now. We are that bad. Look at what we reviewed on the what did we review for the main roster? Pay-per-view.
Bad.
We don't have viable title contenders on SmackDown. On the Fox show, we don't have viable title contenders, Rich.
You know, they just beat Daniel Bryan, you know.
We put Daniel Bryan versus AJ Styles in what was probably the best main roster match this year on SmackDown because we didn't want it to outperform the match that we had motherfuckers taped 2-3 times.
Amazing.
This company's priorities at the top is fucked.
Yeah.
Look.
Oh well.
Vince needs to go. Everybody that's a Vince yes man needs to go. Hunter needs to be put in. Hunter needs to put in his people. You can talk all your shit about NXT and the lack of baby faces right now, and the lack of and their match style as far as being overdone with you got to shoot somebody to beat somebody. But at the end of them fucking things, 9 times out of 10. You come away saying, wow, that was a great ass show. I didn't feel like I got robbed. I feel like they tried to put on the best show they put on every single time, almost every single time. I almost never say that about a main roster production. When's the last time they was Evolution the last time like everybody put on their best performance for a show or pay-per-view?
I don't know. Maybe maybe Survivor Series, or I don't know. Not Survivor Series.
So Survivor Series when a third of the people on there are NXT guys that are Triple H's people. Seems to be a theme here.
It's amazing.
Look, also you talk about Evolution. Oh, so the Mae Young Classic final and then the NXT Women's Title match. Triple H Productions. They have yet to go out there and put out there and say, we're going to give you our money, but we're going to try our best. Unless Triple H is out here begging and pleading and tugging on Vince, say, no, do not fuck the fans. Stop fucking the fans. Yes.
Yeah, I don't trust these people, and I never will.
I don't blame you.
Like, I've been burnt like Cajun. So, but in the end, Jeff Jarrett will win. Oh, remember that.
I think if Jeff Jarrett actually did become the head of, I think I'd really be like, I'm not even watching pay-per-views. I'm fucking done. I'm just done. NXT, somebody else can cover it. I'm good. No thanks. I will just fully fall into my Japanese wrestling fetish that Nick Aldis was talking about. I'm sorry, can't do it. It'll be AEW and New Japan, and I'll pick up All Japan. I'll pick up Noah. I'll pick up Dragon Gate.
You said it wrong. Not All Japan, all of Japan. That's what you would pick up.
All of Japan. Yes. This is basically turned into wrestling omakase, except black. Yes. That's exactly what will happen. I've had enough.
Black Akaze. Yeah.
Yeah, I've had enough. They have ran me from my own territory. They ran me out my own continent.
So New Japan did come back with their show. I watched it today. It was like just real stripped down, basic show. Yep. Still good. And
Tenzon. Good. Jesus.
Yeah. Tenzon.
That
from another era.
Stationary targets can't connect with stationary targets. Just nah, bro.
Yeah, that's a wrap.
It might be time. Like Nakanishi just laid it down. You might need to lay it down yourself.
Like, y'all remember the movie Life when it was talking about who's Nick? We on deck. Like, that's what
he's on deck.
Yeah. He's on deck. Yoda Tsuji. He's either a time traveler because he looks like he's from 1979.
Why do you say that?
He just has an old look to him.
He looks like Kenta Kobashi's son, except with facial hair and long hair.
That man don't smile though.
I didn't say he'd smile. I didn't say he was Kenta Kobashi. I said he looks like Kenta Kobashi.
But Kobashi smiles.
That's true.
So I don't know.
Look, his last name ain't Kobashi. Maybe it's one of those like, yeah, that's my son. Keep that on the tuck.
Wow. But Keepin It Strong Style is gonna have a full breakdown of all that, and they're gonna be back with their shows. And like I think New Japan Cup starts not
the 16th, right?
Tuesday, but Wednesday. I think it starts.
Okay, yeah.
So in the morning. But yeah, we wrap this up, man.
Yeah, that's in the show. Be sure to rate us on whatever app you're using to listen to this. Be sure to check out our sponsor for the show, one of the sponsors for the show, Powerslam.tv. They have our 5,000 hours of footage from all across the world. You can enter the code Social Suplex to get your free month's trial. Check out ProWrestlingTees.com/Social Suplex to pick up some official Social Suplex Podcast Network merchandise. Also, be sure to check out our Discord. What's the info on the Discord? The link to our Discord is in the description for the folks that are listening, Rich.
Yep. If you go to the Social Suplex Twitter page, like it's a pinned link if you ever want to come in there.
Okay. Yeah. And also be sure to check out the other shows in the network. Us on Mondays and Sundays. One Nation Radio. Yikes. Keepin It Strong Style on Tuesdays. Wednesdays, the Ricky and Clive Wrestling Podcast. Every other Wednesday, Grown Men Watch This Shit. Friday, Get in the Ring. And Saturday, All Things Elite. Thanks for listening.
And don't forget, manscaped.com. Get 20% off free shipping with the code SUPLEX at manscaped.com. Help your boys out. Because we've been waiting to get big sponsors for a while, and here we are.
Yes. It's been a long road, and we are finally on the path towards selling out. Like for those that have heard us say, the slogan of the show is One Nation Radio, watch your ass. Even before then, we were saying One Nation Radio. We can't wait to sell out, and we're on the path. So help us achieve our dreams. Later, y'all.